Hello, hello. Welcome on in. Yesterday, I think yesterday's stream, my mic was doing that funny thing. It's so subtle, but sometimes it has this weird distortion to it. Very occasionally there will be like a day where that happens. If you hear it, um I would say don't go crazy mentioning in chat over and over because I'll just be like, yeah, I know, I've heard it. Yeah, 70 people have said that. But say something in the Discord and geeking out. Be like, oh, I think the mic's doing the thing because I have a couple mods listen for it and tell me if they hear it, and that will confirm for them if it's like not just them. I think a lot of people think it's like just their own audio, but sometimes it's mine. And I think it's just static because usually when I like I, I take a dryer sheet, rub it on the outside of like some cables and move some things around so they're not touching each other, and that I think that's what fixes it. I think it's just the hardware and like the positioning of it. I think, but I'm not like 100% sure. So if you do hear it, it may not just be you. It might actually be like the thing. But yeah, just say it in the Discord because some of my mods, there's only like two of them that like sit there and inform me if they hear it, and they're not always sure if it's them or not. So yeah. Unshielded cables. It's not that. It's just so many cables crossing or being bundled near each other can do that. Was all stream yesterday? I think so. Yeah, Oshi's one of the main people that will be paying attention to like audio stuff, audio related stuff. So you can always just flag him on it. But yeah, you didn't notice. A lot of people don't notice because it's again like really subtle. But I want to eliminate it. Alexa, turn on triple. God, it's already that time. Sorry for starting so late today. I was up at a good time. I was doing all my stuff at a good time, and then I had to have a thing done that the person doing it was very late for. So I had to wait. And then after that, I had to record a bunch of stuff. So, you know, I wanted to just get all that done first before I streamed. Yeah. So that is all good though. We are good. If it took too long, I was like, oh, I don't know if I can stream, but I managed to get it done. So we are chilling. I have so much recording to do this weekend as well. So much to do. I have so much planned with other people as well. So it is what it is. It's gonna mean I have to remember. I have to remember to get myself food early enough because I'll look at the timestamp for the stream and be like, oh, it's this many hours in. I don't need to eat yet. But really, like, I will because my food schedule is the same as my streaming schedule. It's pushed back today, so I have to. Yeah, imagine remembering stuff. Ugh. Ugh. I'm gonna have to remember shit. And my 7TV again will not display the emotes. I'm gonna have to just straight up go back to FFZ 100% and like not even have 7TV like just normally activated on mine. It would just break like one day and then be back often, but today it's just like full broken. Oh well. You switched off. Yeah, it depends on what browser I'm using. I have to just switch off it on all. Oh well. And I want to see Frog White. It does break more often recently. Yeah, yeah. It wasn't so bad before, which is why I didn't bother always switching off of it, but I got to do it. Chatterino. Yeah, you know, I have Chatterino open for a lot of my friends' chats. I actually don't use it for my own chat. No particular reason. I just use the one that's in browser on my dashboard because it's next to everything else that's on my dashboard. Um, but yeah, you'll see me sitting in a lot of chats because I've just got Chatterino like running all the time. I might just start using it because it does have good tools. It lets you separate out chat into different brackets and things too. So if like VIPs say something and you feel like you missed it, you can open the tab that just filters like VIP messages. Stuff like that. There's one for mods as well. It's like if a mod says a thing and I miss it because chat's moving, I can just click the show me mod only button for a minute just to catch what they said. Stuff like that. Tiny quality of life things that are really nice. I might want to do that. You know, highlight it. Well, Twitch natively has highlights for streamers. So if a mod or VIP types a thing, it's full highlighted in like that color for me. So I'll always be aware that like it happened. Just if things are going too fast, or depending on what game I'm playing, I might not be able to like reach over and scroll up and catch it. Stuff might just go quickly and it's just gone. So yeah, you are highlighted, unfortunately. Unfortunately. Uh-huh. Anyway, I feel like I should get a snack. I feel like I should do that right at the beginning. I'm thinking about what time do I usually like eat something midstream, and I feel like this is close to it, right? I don't know. I don't think I do it regularly. I think I just wait until I feel it. But I did a lot of shit today. I was running around a bunch, so maybe I'll do that right before I come on screen. Let me go grab a thingy. Let me grab a thingy. Oh, and while I'm doing that, go like the thing that Potato made. Potato made all my alerts. He made me a little shop scene that I'm gonna use soon. He posted it. So sorry to spoil it by just sending the tweet or whatever, but I want him to get his credit. There it is. He made me a little shop scene that I'm gonna use soon. Okay, while you're looking at that, I am going to quickly grab a snack. I'll be right back, and then we'll start. Okay, I'm back. I grabbed a snack. Dude, I'm scripting a video right now. Normally when I record stuff, like there's like a really, really light outline and I'm just talking. I'm just looking at the bullet points like, oh, I have to mention this in this order. But I'm still treating it almost like a stream, right? I'm just saying things. I just give myself a really loose outline. But I wanted some bits of a thing to like be properly scripted. And wow, I hate writing scripts sometimes. There are times where I really love it and times where I really hate it. And I think I had to write the most annoying part earlier, but I'm going to work on it more later and it's going to be the stuff I actually enjoy. So I was like, okay. It's so hit or miss, man. It is so hit or miss. I do like it. I would like to do like more properly scripted videos. I think what I hated was I have a lot of people that will like try and help here and there. People on my editing team or, you know, just people on my team in general, right? Where I'll throw something by them and be like, oh yeah, I think this is what I'm going to do for this. And they'll give notes or whatever. They'll rewrite a thing. And sometimes the way it's rewritten, like they're not wrong about the content, but the way they write it sounds nothing like me. And then when I read it and it sounds nothing like me, and then I have to rewrite what they said, the content of what they said, but sounding like it's actually me because it comes from me, that part's really hard to do. It's one thing if like they give me a bullet point and then I rewrite it to sound like me, but when I have to take something someone else already did and redo it, that for some reason like just takes me longer. I don't know why that takes me so long, but it takes me so long to like fix something than it does to produce something from my own head. I don't know. I think it's just because you have to like, you have a thing in your mind already and then you have to pivot off of it. Ooh, ooh, that part's so annoying to do, but you get through it, man. I wouldn't say it's difficult. It's annoying because it takes me a long time compared to just writing it out from the beginning. And then, I think because it takes me so long and I'm comparing it to other stuff in my head, I'm like, ooh, you know. But, whatever. It's tricky writing real people. Yeah, that's why, like, I do really appreciate when people write, like, fiction about the community and stuff and they throw me in there. But I just cannot read. I cannot read any dialogue anyone tries to make, like, me, the characters, say in their writing. It always sounds incredibly wrong to me. It always does. I can't do it. I can't do it at all. So I get a lot of the time when I do sponsorships and they want me to do a shout out in a video for it, they'll give a bit of a script as an example and they'll be like, hey, adjust this as much as you want. This is just like our guide. If you don't know what to say, you can do this one. And every time I read it, I'm like, holy shit, this is so bad. Like, it just sounds like nothing like me. So I always redo them. I always redo all the talking points and stuff like said by my own self. What I often do is I read over, like, I write out my own bullet points. I commit what's important to memory. And then I don't look at anything. I close my eyes and I just talk about it as if I'm streaming. And speech to text that. And then go through and adjust that. Because then it's literally me speaking. And then I just make sure that, like, the content of what I said is okay. Maybe I cut out some words. I'm like, that was too long because I love rambling. So, you know, that's how I do that. It's so much better. So much better. But I still want to do this. I really want to make one of those throwaway YouTube channels where I just talk about whatever. Lots of friends of mine have these, like, YouTuber friends. Where it's like, it's kind of like a mini podcasty thing, but it's more of a thought dump. And usually they'll just be like playing a game. They'll throw gameplay footage of something they played recently in the background, and then they'll just talk about whatever. And they just go on a topic, and it could be 2 minutes, it could be 20 minutes, it's whatever it is. And I was looking at that and I was like, oh, I really want to do that. That way people can just ask things they're curious about, but if I feel like it doesn't really fit somewhere else, like, I have a dump. You know, I just have a dump for it. So I think it'd be nice. I think it'd be good. Like Mogul Mail, no, different. Mogul Mail is still, like, thought over. Where I'm thinking about something where literally it's like stream, but there's no ongoing chat reacting, so I'm just talking into a mic without anyone listening in that moment, like it'd be after, you know? I kind of like that. Write a script for a video about problems you have with scripted videos. Yes. Yes. Exactly. Start streaming when I'm on my way to bed. Yeah, it's a later one today. I had to do stuff earlier, so here we go. Charlie's YouTube channel. You guys, I think you on average seem to think that a lot of videos are not scripted that are. Or they have, like, a really strong outline. Like, when you watch a Moist Critical video, the analogy he says has been written and he's saying the line, you know? For as far as I'm aware, a lot of what he'll say will be scripted, and then other bits will be bullet pointed, outlined, and then he'll just look at the bullet point and be like, ah, yes, and then talk about it. But what I'm thinking of is single line topic. So not bullet points, not outlined, literally single line. Someone asks one question, or I'm scrolling through Twitter and I see someone say one thing and it's something that I have, like, a thought about, and then I just start recording. You know what I mean? Like, it's truly a thought dump. I want to make one of those. A lot of my friends have that, and it's a lot of my YouTuber friends feel it's really nice because for them, they don't stream. So having that, like, candid, I'm just dumping my thoughts thing, they don't get that normally, where other people can hear it. So that would be nice. And then the other one is a lot of them that stream do it because when you have a chat talking to you and you're reacting to the chat or you're taking in what they're saying with your eyeballs, it affects what you say and it affects like your pacing and trying to get through the thought and all of that. And you end up not saying everything because you're like cutting it so you can get to the next thing that someone said in chat. So yeah, that's why a lot of people will like those thought dump channels. You want it for shorts? I think I would talk too much for it to be shorts. Although they did make a what is it, like long shorts, which is kind of, you know, not a little weird. But long shorts are like 3 minutes now. Shorts used to be les longs. They used to be 60-second limits, and now it's 33 minutes, I think. I believe. So maybe it's not so bad. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. But I think it'd be nice. Yeah. Yeah, what's next? Short pants. Actually, a lot of my friends like from Korea specifically would call shorts short pants. They would do this all the time. 40-minute video about podcaster son or VTuber daughter. It's just a library of letter note video. You guys are fine to just like give me those prompts in chat when I'm just chatting too, right? Like if you're like, would you prefer podcaster son or VTuber daughter? Like you don't have to stay so on topic that the topic never changes. You could just throw shit at me like that. I don't mind. I don't mind. And then maybe we throw it on the clip channel, whatever, you know? Maybe we do it. Did short shorts become short pants? Yeah, I guess so, right? I don't know. I wish I had someone who would clip me for free and do deep cuts all the time, like Librarian. I have my team, obviously, and they do what they can, but I don't make them do the crazy shit the Librarian does, where I'm like, hey, can you collect every time I say this one thing I say a lot the past year? And I don't go like, hey, can you make a saga of me talking about jorts? So can you comb through my last month's worth of VODs and find the points where I talk about jorts and put them together in a video for 40 minutes? Like, I don't make them do, like the misogyny supercut. I don't make them do supercuts like that where they have to do all that work of combing back through things they've already combed through to look for something really specific. But Librarian just does it. And it's not that he combs back through, it's that he watches every stream and he marks everything. He just bookmarks literally everything. He'll be like, timestamp, talked about jorts. Timestamp, talked about sushi again. Timestamp, funny, like joke misogyny moment, right? And he'll like go through and do all of that. And then he has a master document of that. So when he wants to make a video, he's like, hey, I think I've noticed that he's talked about jorts a lot. He'll go like back through it and he'll just search like Control F every time jorts is mentioned, you know, and that's pretty good. And I might not be paying, but he's getting paid. Oh, in general, yeah, in general. I just mean like he's not like NL isn't sitting there being like, let's have a meeting about what you're posting this week and let me get you paid for those hours exactly and blah blah blah, you know, all of that. Yeah, he's not staffed exactly. But I believe he is allowed to keep all the revenue from the channel. I'm pretty sure. So, you know. Yeah, he's his own man. Yes, no, it's not because you asked if he control the whole outfit. It's because our automod gets rid of any message where people add me. That's why, because I look at chat and you could just ask the question without adding me. That's all. Might be using AI. No, he showed his whole process. He doesn't. I also find using AI to comb through videos can be really unreliable depending on the tool you're using. Because it can pick up certain words, but it doesn't pick up a lot of context, especially when there's like some sort of thing you keep mentioning and it becomes a meme. It doesn't understand a lot of the nuance, the context behind it. So it's not useful for like trying to put together supercut of a specific type of thing, you know? It'd be tough. But it is still good for like finding specific words. It's one of the uses of AI that I think is like genuinely really good. You're just like, hey, scrape through this video and find every time this word is said. And it just pieces through it, so you don't have to sit there and scrub through. That's fine, and it's not really like stealing someone's job. It's saving editors headache because they still have to do the rest of the work, you know? So it's one of those uses that I think is actually really good for it. Not sure clippers are very worried about context most of the time. Yeah, but we're talking about someone who is, specifically. I agree with you, though. I agree. You appreciate that he commissions art for his thumbnails? It's expensive to do that. You know, a lot of the time when you commission art for thumbnails, you increase the cost of the video by like a third or more. Sometimes it depends on the artist. You have to find ones that aren't too expensive. A lot of the good ones are, and it sucks. It ends up costing you so much to the point where you're like, YouTube videos don't really make a lot of money, so you have to be really good about it. And if you keep doing these drawn thumbnails and you commission a good artist for it, you might actually just lose so much money. It's a little scary. It's a little scary. Ooh, you use it to scan training videos to pull text information like website links or key training bits that flash on the screen. Really neat. Yeah. Stuff like that is good. And then you don't have to sit there and like pause the video and then do some data entry in a sheet and try and like get it right and everything. It's good. It's good. Be worth it because I purposely ignore videos with AI thumbnails. Yeah, it's hard to tell what is and isn't though, because sometimes it's just trained on a thumbnail trend where it just looks a certain way. It's tough. I don't know. It's hard. It's hard to tell. Really hard to tell. You know what really bothers me? I'm asymmetrical, right? I got different eye colors. I got an eye patch that goes on one side when I'm wearing it, etc. You know how many times clippers will clip me? Oh, hi, Nucky. He's trying to get me to open the closet door. I'm not doing it. Oh, you hear him? What are you doing in the bathroom? Huh? Nucky. Did you just eat and you're trying to like run around and get someone to chase you? I think he's trying to call my other cat. Lucky, why don't you do this in the mic so I can hear you really well? Lucky, come here. What you doing? Oh, he looks so excited. What you doing? Come here. Come here. Yeah. Yeah, he's just... he's just doing his thing. I don't know if you're going to get purring today from him. He's going to. I just don't know if he'll sit on my lap and I'll get the mic on him. But right now he's doing his, like, yowl after he eats kind of thing. Fed him before stream. He loves doing that. He'll eat and then a bit later he'll start, like, walking around going, like, trying to get into the closet and, like, spaces that he doesn't normally go into because he's just feeling excited, feeling adventurous. And then the yowls are kind of to get my other cat to come, like, chase him because he's looking for that. That's what that is. Yeah, there he goes. Anyway, what I was saying, the thing that kind of bothers me, back to that, circling back. I'm asymmetrical, right? Different eye colors, eye patch on one side. Outfits are often asymmetrical, right? Because I'll have like one arm that has a different thing on it, etc. The number of times I see myself in a thumbnail on YouTube where somebody took me and flipped me horizontally, so things are now all on the wrong side because they just wanted me on like the left side of the thumbnail, but I was facing this way. And they wanted me facing this way. So instead of trying to find an image of me facing that way, they just take the image of me facing this way, move it over here, and then they like flip it horizontally and everything's on the wrong side. Oh my God, I hate that. It's so annoying. It's so annoying. Because the thing is, I get it if I was like pretty symmetrical, but I'm not. So the eye patch will be on the wrong side. And then some of my own people will be in the comments and they'll be like, why'd you flip it? You know? You're not drawn symmetrical? Look at my bangs. Look at my eye color. In this outfit, I got a scar on this side. I often have this. I often have that. So if you flip this, it's like wrong, you know? It makes it so wrong. I don't know. I don't know, man. They just take the x-axis and they go boop, flip horizontal, and it just looks weird. It looks really weird to me. This outfit is more symmetrical than most. This one is. This one is, yeah. I don't really think I have much asymmetry on here. Yeah, it's the gauntlet. That's it. I kept this one really symmetrical because I felt like it just made sense for what it is. But yeah. I don't know. I don't know. They keep flipping it. They keep flipping it. And I hate it. But yeah, my other outfits are more asymmetrical. There's more going on with that. I'm completely asymmetrical. You mean like my general outfit, my OG outfit? Um, yeah, the legs and boots are symmetrical. And then my arms, my shoulder area, my head, all of that, there's like asymmetrical details for sure. They should spin you 180, put you upside down. That would be better. That would be better, man. I don't know. It's not like a big deal. Anything I complain about like this, especially if I'm laughing about it, it's like really not a big deal. It's just one of those things. You just notice it. And after you've noticed it 10 times, you're like, okay, all right. Now you keep noticing it. Whatever. Whatever, man. Oh, well. I have other stuff that we're working on. I have one other outfit that I think is also fairly symmetrical. And then I have one that's also really symmetrical, like except for the glove, and the glove is so different than the other hand. It's really funny. You're gonna like it. You're gonna like it. It's a funny one. I feel like it's harder to draw the design personality-wise than design-wise, if that makes sense. Yeah, I think a lot of artists don't they don't get it completely right. They don't get the personality right. I think people that watch me stream are more likely to draw me in a way that makes sense, but people that don't watch me, I can almost tell when someone draws me if they watch me or not based off of like what they draw. You know, because they'll draw like a personality. If they draw me like with a friend and the way I'm like reacting to them, I look at it and I'm like, they saw a character on the screen and drew it, but they do not know me at all. You know, well, default VTuber fan art styles that don't really apply to you. I think so too. I don't want to be like, I'm so different, but no, it's true. And I think I'm trying to get back. It's something I used to do a lot of, is I used to commission a lot of art for myself. Like I would commission it. I would talk to the artist. I would pay for it, get it and post it just cause. It wasn't for merch. It wasn't for anything. And I want to start doing that again. I think I stopped because I got tired of Skeb. because it was just a little harder to work with people through. But now there's VGEN and it's really well done and you get a lot more back and forth with the artist, and it has to be English speaking artists too, so if you're trying to communicate something difficult, it's easy. So I wanted to do that again here and there, and also like not expensive ones. A lot of people on VGen will do like quick doodles and stuff, and I just want more stuff like that to post, so I'm gonna do it. I used to do that so much. There was just so much art of me, especially like art that was like me approved and it was like a thing that I specifically wanted, so I'm gonna keep doing that. VGen's great for people like you who hate DMing or emailing random artists. Yeah, I kind of don't have the time. Like having it all aggregated on VGen is nice. It'll give you notifications when they need an update from you, which is great. Whereas like Twitter DMs, you're just constantly flipping through like 10 different DMs to see if they've been updated and see if like, you know, did I leave anything off on this one? Do I need to answer this? You know, it's a lot of tiny bits of time spent that all add up. So anything I can do to cut that down, I will. So thank God we got VGen. Someone share GEEGA's current music playlist of these tracks? I don't have a playlist. Well, I do. I have a playlist with like 5-6 tracks in it that have a vibe that I like, and then I let Spotify autoplay after that. So it plays a lot of things that I've like never heard. This one's called Blushin' by Arlo, for example. It's never been on my playlist before. It just showed up. So that's how you should do it. Find like a couple tracks that you vibe with, make a playlist of it, let it autoplay, and then when you like something, you save that to that same playlist. So you keep feeding it back like the right stuff. And then Spotify will really understand you. I think their algo for everything, for picking tracks, is scarily good, like really good. So that's how I do it. So watching you, the personality matches the model, but from an outside perspective, the design screams classic, over the top, dramatic video game villain. That's what I wanted, and I think if people always drew me that way, it would make sense. It'd be fine. But I think people draw things that I'm just like, where did you get this from? I don't know. That it doesn't fit me or the design sometimes. I'm like, what is that? Can you help someone that doesn't watch you drew you, but they ask their friend that does watch you for advice? I wonder. I wonder, man. I don't know. And a character type art all the time. All the time. So that's why I want to commission more myself. Because it affects your brand so much more than you realize. It affects how people perceive you. Like the type of art you've got. And the type of just vibe it's always having when they see it. So I think that did a lot for me early on. Actually, when people say like, what's a good way to grow when I don't have anything yet? Actually, just commission art of yourself. Every 2 weeks, a little scab. But the thing is, you need money for that. And I was working full time and I wasn't spending a ton on it because I was doing like cheap scabs. It was like cheap, you know? But still, I was doing it, and that was really helpful. So, I don't know. Miss the AC ventilation guy. Who? Are you evil today? I'm evil every day. I always have the evil tag on. $10 scabs. Do you remember? They were pretty good too. They were pretty good. I missed that, but at the same time, I kind of like felt bad. Oh, in the Date Everything game. Yeah. Yeah, the vent guy. He was great. I wish there was more writing, more storyline with him. Zen Mama did so with the details fetty from her art. Yeah. I was so glad to be able to work with her. I'm glad she was like available to do the base model. This art for this, okay, the hairstyle, anything on the hairstyle that's different from my other model, the Inquisitor outfit. Anything that's different on the hairstyle and the outfit on this one was done by Janie Hero. He did this one, and he's doing a lot of my outfits because Zen is so booked up and she's going to school. She like has so much, so I'm trying to not overload her. I also don't want to like, I feel bad taking up all of her time because then she can't really do models for other people too. So I try to like ask her for things here and there, but for outfits I've been asking Janie to do a lot of them, and he's been so clutch. The way he did like the medals on this, like you could see all like the detailing on it. He's so good. He's so good. So I've been having him help with that. So he's supporting on all of that. And he's good at matching Zan's art. Like if we need like an arm doing a thing and needs to redraw a hand in a different position, he can make it look similar enough in style that it looks like Zan could have done it. He's really good at matching styles like that and having it mesh well together. So I'm very thankful to work with him. He's working on so much for me. We have so this is my 3.0 model, but it's basically like the Inquisitor is like 3.1. This one's like 3.2. The 3.0, which is my actual OG outfit, we're doing out of order, and that should be the next one. And he did the art for the outfit on that. And it looks so good. It looks so good. He did a really, really good job. So that one, hopefully soon. It's very hard for me to schedule things right now and to figure out like there's a lot that's happening over the summer, and I'm trying to figure out like where to place it. You know, like where makes sense. So I'm also trying to get like merch stuff done by a certain time because I'm trying to have it be another scenario where we can have you order stuff and it's not pre-order, it immediately gets sent out. So I'm trying. So I'm trying to work on timing with everything. Bite, thank you for the 100 subs. Whoa, that's crazy. It's inspired from Monster Hunter. This outfit was completely sponsored by Capcom and Monster Hunter. Yes, actually. When Monster Hunter Wilds released, or 2 months before it, they contacted me. We were talking about doing a sponsorship, and we pitched me doing an outfit, like a Monster Hunter outfit. I was actually already working on one that was like legally distinct. So it was a friend who was designing a monster that did not exist in game. We were just designing our own original monster, and then we were making an outfit based off of that. But then when they reached out, we showed what we had to them and said, can we adjust this and change it so that it matches instead a monster in game? Like, we didn't want to do that without them giving us permission, so we weren't at first. But because the sponsorship came through, we talked to them about it, and they did, and they supported the project. So yeah, this one's based off of Arkveld. So it's not a copy of the in-game armor. It's like my own design still, but we were allowed to like look at Arkveld and take design details from him and use it and everything. So yeah. Capcom fully supported. It was neat. I want to do more of that. We have, I can't say what, but we have one other outfit completely blessed by a game again being worked on. So it's something I want to do a lot of if I can. It's my favorite type of thing, is like working directly with the publishers and everything. And like if I can, I want to make it my thing. I just don't know. Like we gotta try really hard to like make that happen. But yeah, we'll see. It is what I think it is. I don't think you have any way to know what it is. I don't think you would know. So probably not what you're thinking. But you shall see. There's something else. It won't be super soon. It's not something that's coming out like crazy soon or anything like that. It's something for later. It's not Mafia. No. I wish it was. But no, it's not Mafia. Oh my god, Mario Bros outfit. I would lose my mind if I could ever do anything with Nintendo. I would lose my fucking mind. I'm one of those like people that just eats up everything Nintendo does ever. Not always, not without reason. Like if I don't like something, I don't like something. But for the most part, yeah. Yeah, Nintendo doesn't really do stuff with creators that much. They don't need to. They do their own shit. You know? They really don't need that. Probably a decent chunk of money to sponsor, but I think it's a really cool thing. Yeah, but I mean, if it's a big studio, usually they're really down for the idea. They usually are. So with Delta, no. Hey, for the record, if I'm intentionally vague about something and then you start guessing, I'm not gonna like try to confirm and deny too much of it, because you're just like trying to bait me into saying a thing I don't want to say. So I'm not gonna do that. Like, stop trying to guess. The whole point of being vague was so that I could be vague on purpose, and I'm not trying to get you to like look into the crystal ball and figure it out, you know? You know what I'm saying? Nah, I mean, Captain Olimar fit would go crazy. Could you imagine? No, if it was a Pikmin thing, I'd be like, can I be a Bulborb? Straight up, I would ask for an outfit that was like the shape of a pear, Bulborb color, with just my legs sticking out the bottom, just like bare legs sticking out. I look like I'm wearing like a potato sack that's like red with white spots, and just like a headband on my head with weird eyeballs. If they sponsored me, that's the outfit. Just, you could picture it if you close your eyes. I would take that and I would be like, this is what I want to do. Thank you. Please and thank you. That's what I want. That's what I want, man. Oh, y'all remember or take part in the Nintendo Ambassador Program? Oh, you remember that? Yeah, no. Some companies have like their own ambassador or like creator programs. Like Capcom has the Capcom creator thing. But for the most part, instead of being a part of a creator program, I just have like a representative at a company that I've contacted, or they've contacted me, and we've stayed in touch. And then when a thing is happening, they let me know. Are you interested? Yes. And then we talk from there. So a lot of the stuff that I've gotten is because I'm just well connected to a representative. The same way a lot of creators are. But I'm not afraid to go and pitch ideas to them. So that's why it works out well for me a lot of time. And they really like me because Not to be shady, but a lot of people straight up don't do what sponsors ask them to do. But I do. And it's not hard, but they give you a contract that you sign and has a list of deliverables, right? And they're like, we want this one social post within 2 hours before the stream. They have like little parameters that they ask sometimes, and I just read it over and do them. But so many people just like get that shit wrong, the small things. And because of that, because I actually listen, they're more likely to keep working with me. It's like, it's not always that hard, but like when you sign a paper, just do this, do the extra stuff, just do it, you know? Or negotiate. If you don't want to do the extra stuff, be like, hey, let's lower the rate, but cut out these things. And oftentimes they'll be like, okay, we won't pay for the social post or whatever, you know? See somebody forget to put hashtag ad in the title. They don't always ask for that. That's not legally required because Twitch has a thing where you can click a box that says like, this stream contains branded content or whatever. And you can click that. So oftentimes they don't require hashtag ad. That's not a thing anymore. If they specifically ask for it, I might put it in the title. But if they don't specifically ask, I don't do it. But they write that. They write it. They write it down and they're like, hey, here's what we got. It's the weirdest deliverable you've been asked for, if you can say. Most of them aren't too bad. I think one, like a recent one that I can think of is for Mind's Eye. They wanted me to play. They had like this effect where like the logo and like some stuff like glitches across the screen a little bit. And they just wanted me to play it and act like nothing happens. Because the whole idea of the game, a lot of the story is like he keeps seeing things and it's just happening. And no one else knows it's just happening, right? Shit he's seeing. So they're like, do this. And I was like, okay, all right. I don't think anyone's going to get it. Like, they're just going to be like, what was that? And then I'm going to act like it didn't happen, you know, because that's the branding you're going for. And then, okay, you know. You went to clip it that day, but wasn't sure. Yeah. It was just like, it was one of those things. Yeah, it was high concept. And I feel like when you go really high concept, I was like, I don't know that that's going to land. I did say that to them. I was like, I don't know, but I'll do it. It's not a big deal, not a big ask. But stuff like that, a lot of creators will forget to do. And then the sponsors don't want to work with them as much when they like refuse to do all these little things that aren't a big deal because it just makes them appear difficult, you know? But I'm really not. Or if I don't want to do a thing, I tell them beforehand. And then I like say like, I don't want to do this, but I'll lower the rate or something.
This is Mr. John Nintendo Miyamoto. We are deeply interested in this community and would like to sponsor.
Yes.
Also, could you kindly explain to us the meaning of goats megalao?
Never. Never. How would one go about getting their first sponsorship? The simple way is platforms that just have a built system for it. So, number one, Stream Elements. You can go to Stream Elements and you could sign up and they will just push some sponsorships to you. They have like a program that just kind of automates that. I will say their rates are not good. If you go to get the same sponsorship yourself and you talk to a representative to that publisher, that company, or whatever company's the middleman between the publisher and creators, if you talk to them, you will probably be able to negotiate a better rate. But most creators don't know what that is, and you're better off just doing that automated thing. There are other things that do a similar thing. A really good site is Lurkit, lurk.it. Lurkit. They do the same thing. You sign up, it reads in your data, so it understands your CCV, your following, what kind of things you stream, whatever. And then if you just kind of hit baselines, that they're allowed to put some sort of stuff in front of you because you hit a baseline, then they just push it to you. And you just click accept. A lot of the campaigns they do are just giving you free keys. It's not always like a paid thing, but it's pretty good. However, I will say a lot of the rates of those things have not been that great. So it's really annoying, but the way I've been doing it is I've just been doing it myself and I've just been contacting. I just email. I will email. And so far, I think those platforms are really well-intentioned, but I prefer to do it myself. I'd really like a platform that feels more like it understands the industry, if that makes sense. And I've kind of been thinking of doing like my own, honestly, because I feel like the ideas of these platforms are really good, but like I said, like their rates usually suck. A lot of the campaigns they shove to you are like not really that great because they don't they don't have a lot of staff like manning it and actively looking over this stuff and making sure you get good campaigns. And I feel like the experience overall is just okay-ish. It's okay-ish. It's not bad, but it's not great. I think they just kind of don't, they just mismanage it a little bit. Yeah, you said you've been on both. It seems like the campaigns are pretty bad, like tone deaf for the audience. Exactly. I don't think they do proper analytics on the data to be able to send the right things to the right people. So that's why I end up doing it myself or having like an agent to go and do it, because having those conversations is what you need to do. But I kind of want something in the middle where it feels a little more tailored to you, but it's just using your data to figure out what makes sense for you. So I've actually thought really heavily about at some point making something like that, starting a platform like that does a similar, like has a similar end goal, but just does a better job of it, you know, is way better on all the analytical side of it and making sure that you're actually getting campaigns that make sense for you, making sure that the rates make sense. I don't know. And just handling the legal side nicely. I feel like there's not always the best visibility on some of the stuff. So I don't know. I think about these types of like creator tools a lot because I use a lot of these things, or have used a lot of these things, but they miss the mark, and it feels like people who work with creators have made them, but not people who are creators have actually driven what these things do, right? So I kind of want to make some things that are like properly creator driven in who's at least directing what's going on with them. And yeah, we'll see, but that's something that I've had in the pipeline. That's something that, you know, I want to put income toward and everything. Like I really want to fund this kind of shit. Also, hi Pian, how are you? I haven't seen you forever. How you doing? But yeah, I have a lot of ideas around that, because so much of this stuff is like I said, these companies are well intentioned, but they just don't get it. They don't get it. They're kind of disconnected, like, from what people actually need or how they want to do things. So I should just do it. And I have the skill set to do it. I have the knowledge base to get this shit done. And I could promote it. I could tell streamer friends about it. Like, I feel like there's kind of no reason for me not to. So as I'm having little bits of time here and there, I've been ideating projects and trying to cobble together, you know, what do I need to actually do this and figure out what's feasible. Because I don't know. There's so many platforms and so many tools made to help creators, but so few of them were actually made by a creator or directed by them in any way. Because I don't think most people know how to do that. There are a few people that could do both. Because you just have to have worked in both for an appreciable amount of time. So I think one of the only examples of something that I saw that was a really well-made thing that felt like a creator actually had their touch on it was Truffle that Ludwig and his team did. And that's that thing where if you go to a YouTube chat and someone has Truffle, it's kind of like 7TV, you know, or one of those where it adds a lot of buttons and things. It's an extension for your browser. And it allows you to do a lot of stuff that you couldn't do. It makes YouTube chat actually usable. And for the creators that have Truffle in their chat, and I have the extension, so I go to their chat, it makes their YouTube actually usable. It feels like a bit more like Twitch, and it has more features. So I look at that and I'm like, there should just be a lot more of this everywhere. And I kind of want to do it, you know. I feel like I'm uniquely positioned for it. And every time I think about stuff like that, like every time I recommend someone's like, what should I do for this? And I'm like, oh, stream elements. I'm always like, I think I'm saying it just because it's a band-aid solution, because it's like the only one that exists, not because it's like good, you know? So it makes me think a lot about it. I don't know. The Venn diagram is basically a tangent point. Yeah, there's not many people that have done both. Or there are people who like stream and were developers, but in my experience, a lot of developers are notoriously bad at understanding user experience and being able to actually architect out and diagram out a tool that people would realistically use. They just know how to build a thing, but like they don't know how to build something that someone wants, because that's usually not their job. So a lot of streamers have been devs, but that's not the right person to direct a project like that, you know? That's someone to work on it. It's different. So I've thought a lot about it, and I'm like, I don't know. I've spent a lot of time over the past year on getting stuff together for some of these things, and it's just a matter of like, what can I afford to actually do? You know, like, what of these can I afford to take a risk on and make and push forward, and what can I afford the time for, and you know. But I've thought about this like a lot of time. Found out the Twitch extensions let you limit who can install them to just one person. Really? I knew you could. I didn't know it could be like one. Interesting. That's very interesting. The reason UX is it's one field. Yeah. It's its own thing. Put all my points in dev. UX was the dump stat. Hey, it's good to have both. A lot of people do not have any appreciable amount of both. They have just one. So trying to find someone who understands both the business use case and how to implement is like striking gold and finding a developer. Yeah, there's so few. That's why these teams have all these people, and everyone thinks everyone else is useless. The devs are like, I don't understand why we have this program manager. They don't seem to do much. And I'm like, if you're sitting in their perspective, some of them are useless, but some of them are actually key and integral and the most important. So, you know, it depends, man. Building an extension to collect stream delay data so I can better sync in-chat action with on-screen action, but it's for one streamer. Yeah, typical. Yeah, I'm looking at the stuff that I want built for myself custom, and then I'm thinking about what do I want that I could actually just make for other people. That would make sense. And I'm trying my best to take some of the ideas that are just cool but would only have me lose money and put those away and just forget about them. You know, because there's like good old Fuji made, you know, Fujis, right? You can have like the image of the person talking on screen, but he basically just like loses money doing that because of how many people use it. Okay, how many users he has, but they don't pay anything. No one pays anything for that. It's all free. And I look at that and I'm like, this is such a good tool. But if you have no way to make money so that it at least pays for itself, you're just losing. So I'm trying hard to make sure that I don't pick like something where I pay the development cost on it and then also it loses me money. You know, because that's scary too. But a lot of the tools that are like that are ones that I like kind of want to make because they're cool. They're nice. I don't know. I think about it a lot. I think about it a ton. I don't know. Used to have a voice of the customer person on our team, and they're sorely missed now. I've been advocating getting one again for years now. I know. Yeah. Hire me, hate my job. Ooh. Well, I'm actively trying to figure out how I want to fund some of this stuff. Like, trying to figure out if I could do it myself, which is kind of tough because then I'm not saving anything. Or if I want to go like pitch it to someone, you know, and just see. I've thought a lot about this because I'm not really like I don't sneeze and money comes out kind of person. But we'll see. Hiring a dev is expensive, and then if I want a tool to look good, I might have to sit there and like make the pieces myself, which I don't really have the time to. I would never be able to do anything ever. But I've thought about it. I don't know. Hire you, you're unemployed. Why are you unemployed? Makes me not want to hire you. Your name has Linux in it. I don't know. Linux, huh? Dev streams in the future? No, I can't develop in front of anyone. I look at people that do dev streams and I'm like, brother, I would type 3 words and then talk for 20 minutes. I cannot lock in on something like that when there's like an active chat. And even if I closed the chat, I would be aware that they're there. No fucking way. You know the job market right now? Oh, I do. Hey, I'm making jokes, okay? I know everyone's unemployed right now. I know that like the most graduates we're getting are people with like comp sci degrees and shit, and they're like useless now, quote unquote. Not completely, but compared to like 5-10 years ago, so different. Trust me, I know. I'm making jokes, dude, because I'm a streamer. Even nub streams by cool popular streamers are boring as hell. Yeah, there's a reason why like the development category is not popping, because it's unfun and boring. It's not entertainment. It has cool educational value, and some communities are nice to sit in, but they're not more fun than watching someone play Mario Kart while people keep typing frog wide over and over. So, like, there you go. There you go. Yeah, exactly. Look at that. This is so fucking fun, dude. So wanting to work because you're unemployed, nobody want to hire you because you're unemployed. That's rough. Hey, I'm making a joke again. I don't know. 2 jobs to stash bank for the future is not the way to do things, lads. Can confirm. Yeah, but sometimes it's all people can do, you know? I don't know, man. Love me some entry level positions that require 5 years experience and a degree that shows only book smarts. And you know what's crazy? Oh, I saw on Twitter there was a singular tweet in my For You that was shown to me. It was some guy celebrating. He was like, yeah, just graduated. Yeah, it was a bunch of college graduates like at their graduation. They pop the confetti. Everyone's like, woo! And there's one guy holding up a laptop showing like Chat GPT. Like he's like showing what got him his degree and basically like implying that he used that for everything. And we talked about this the other day about like everyone using stuff like that to graduate nowadays. And I'm like, oh, that's so scary because we're completely devaluing all of it. A lot of people probably saw it because it was like a really, you know, a highly liked tweet. I think it's just, he did it for his finals, something like that. First of all, I wouldn't show that because if the wrong person sees it and they want to make you into a spectacle, they might pull your degree, right? I wouldn't show it. Even if it's known that you've done this, I wouldn't show it. That's number one. Number two, all the students using it, I mean, they're just showing that, like, education doesn't mean anything anymore. And I'm curious to see more studies happen, but there's studies happening right now where they're trying to see what happens to you and and basically how smart you are if you and how educated you are if you're just using these types of tools to do your schoolwork. The effect it has on cognition is pretty bad if you just rely on them. And I'm like, ugh, I don't know. I don't like that people are writing essays with this stuff and everything. You're required to use in your capstone engineering class and you're not learning anything. Right. I come from a time when none of this existed or could be used in school. So everything you did, you had to go and read, and like maybe you could use the internet for some stuff, but even then a lot of classes required that you went to a real library and you took out a book and you had to say, like, when you credited the book, you had to say what library you got it at so they could check that you could get it there to know that you used a real book. That's what I had to do. So you had to prove that you actually read through bits of a book and pulled it. Like you couldn't always use online sources. Or if you did, you could only from certain databases. And like hearing that you can do things so differently now is crazy. It's crazy that I don't know. I just try to imagine it and I'm like, I can't imagine learning anything. I think I'd have a great time in school because it would do a lot of my work for me. And then I'd get out and I'd be shitting my pants because I wouldn't know anything. You know? I feel like it's going to be really grim for them. They're all going to get depressed. They're all going to get depressed. They're going to realize at some point that they can't do this stuff. And some of these students, I'm sure, are still trying to do it better, but like, I don't know. It's just so, I feel bad for them because they're not being told, no, don't do this. You know? They're not being forced to not do it. He said, one of you said, your university tends to treat AI-generated work as plagiarism with some few exceptions. Yeah, it should be. It should be. Imagine getting operated on. Or going, not even going to your GP. Imagine going to your GP and they can't tell you information about your health without referring to something because they never properly committed anything to memory in school. Like, there's some med programs that are allowing it. A lot still aren't, but, you know, it's scary. And a lot of people sneak this stuff. It's not always that their program allows it. They're just doing it and kind of getting through with it. So that's horrifying. Do you think there's a fix for it? I would say disallow it, but I think it becomes harder and harder to be able to tell if people are using it over time. So, and especially if you have older teachers that just have less knowledge of how the internet works and all these things, they have less ability to detect it on their own. It's tough. It's tough, man. You said, I think that's a result of the world that devaluing degrees in education as just something you get for a job instead of something to build skills and improve oneself. Yeah, that's the thing, right? This is like a culmination of that. A lot of people will be like, AI is the problem. Here's something to be aware of in this world, okay? A lot of people are going to start saying that these programs and AI are the problem. And the reason education is getting to this point is because of these tools. However, this has been a long time coming. We've been devaluing education for a long time, okay? And people were complaining about this shit before these tools in other ways, right? So it's just like, while it is true, don't drink the Kool-Aid thinking that that's the only problem, It's been like this for a long while. Like, it bothered me when I was in school. I was like, so many people were there studying and all they could talk about is like, what degree do I need so I can make money? What degree do I need so I can get X job? Not like, I want to study this because I'm passionate about it, because the world just wasn't working like that anymore. The world just wasn't like that anymore. And that was rough. That was really rough. So, because everyone wanted to study what they wanted to and then get some sort of career within that scope, but they would instead do it in the other order. They'd be like, I want one of these 3 jobs, I think, and then I try to study this thing. Or they would study a thing that they thought just they could do because it was interesting, and then find out there were no jobs because no one, like, the whole education system just doesn't help you with any of this. They just don't help you with any of that. So, I don't know. It was rough. It was rough. It's all because of the goddamn video games. Exactly. Yeah, this is a good one. The degree became a key rather than a door. Right? 100%. Education doesn't equal a degree, though. You can have either without the other. Yeah, there are a lot of things you can self-study to if you just want to feel educated. You want to feel like you just did that and you're just doing it for yourself. But if you want to go to college because you want to learn things and it really is the sort of thing that you should go to school for, like self-study is not for you or not in that thing that you're trying to do, not in that field, then you have to pay for it. And it's so expensive and it becomes a luxury, right? Getting educated just to be educated in a lot of fields is a luxury. So it's like, oh, I want to go study archaeology and history because I'm so interested in it, but I don't really want to work in it because I can't get a job. So I just want to take some extra classes. Okay, pay many thousands of dollars for each extra class you want to take on that just because you're interested. It's just not doable for a lot of people. So it stinks. It stinks. Anyway, I think all exams should be like oral wherever possible. And I think education needs to focus more on case studies and then making presentations and projects related to things and not just writing papers or just answering a set of basic questions. It has to have those things too, but as much as possible, you have to go into these things and make people get up there and talk about shit. And that's when people start to flounder. And I'm going to be honest, back in my day, before people were using AI and all these tools to get their degrees, people still didn't know shit. You'd bring them up to the front of the class. So many classes that I TA'd, I would always do this. I'd make people stand up and talk constantly. They'd be like, this is the answer to this. And I'd be like, why? You know how many calc students I asked to explain calculus? I was like, what is it at its base level? Why are there limits? What is a limit? Why do you use a limit? Can you explain to me why we ever do this? You don't have to explain to me how at all. Why do we do this? They couldn't tell you shit. It's so simple, too. It's so simple. It's so simple. I'd be like, why are we using something theoretical? Why are we using limits? Can you give me an example? And they couldn't answer a fucking thing. They couldn't answer a fucking thing, man. Can you explain it? Here. You want me to explain it? I'll explain a baseline of why we use limits for some shit. I'm going to try to do it in layman's terms. Warning, I love math. I love math so much. Here. Wait, here. Really quick explanation. Why do we use limits? Back in the day, we had trigonometry, okay? Make this bigger. Back in the day, I'm talking like ancient times, like early math. We had trig and stuff. And one of the things we knew we could do, we knew we could definitely do, is we could find the area of a triangle. Right? We got Pythagorean theorem, things like that. We could find side A, side B, side C. We could measure them, and we could get the area, right? Easy, simple. This is like super simple shit because we have these defined sides. Now what do we do when we need the area of a circle? And how do we determine this using what we had, which was just area of a triangle? So you could take a circle and you could go like this and you could turn it into different triangles using like a radius, for example. And the triangle obviously has some area of the circle that is cut out of it if you make 3 sides, right? So you got like side, 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 ABC, right? And we can find that, but there's this big chunk right here that's unaccounted for. So the limit is, what if I just keep making these triangles smaller, and then this little line here, this little bit of area that's unaccounted for is smaller. We could just keep doing this. Yeah, it's tessellation. We can keep doing this down smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller so that this little bit of area here is getting tinier and tinier. And this is kind of an example. Eventually, I mean, imagine you could just keep going down and down and down until there are a billion lines and there's very little area left that's not accounted for. So you could do these really good approximations of the area of a circle by doing this. And that's what the limit is. You're basically saying, like, is there a limit to how many times you can do this and slice this up? And how close can you get to the actual value? How close can you actually get, right? And they were finding that with a lot of simpler math that they had at the time, by just breaking it down and iterating on this process over and over, they could get really close to getting the area of something like a circle, right? So calculus, a lot of calculus, is going through problems like this and taking something that they knew definitively, like I can find the area of a triangle, and saying, how can I iterate using this simple function that I've got to try and get the area of this thing, right? And that is kind of like early example of when they started dealing with limits. And the calculus is just taking that style of math and going crazy with it. And that's kind of like, that's like single variable calculus. As an example, we start to get into like multivariable calculus later for way different types of problems and using different like initial kinds of formulas that we're basing all this off of. But that is the type of problem that early calculus came from. And that's why we do this shit. How does it trend as I've always boiled down calculus? Yeah, for sure. I liked doing stuff like this, and I feel like that explanation is really, I'm watering it down a lot, but it's very simple. It's very simple. And I would ask like a student, I'd be like, can you stand up and tell me like why are we doing this formula? Can you give me an example of anything? Like anything, any example of why you might use this? Or maybe why an ancient person might have come up with this? Like what problem could they have been trying to solve? And like 90% of students couldn't even begin to answer. And I would be like, that means you didn't read chapter fucking 1 of your textbook. That's number 1. You didn't even read chapter 1 overview, you know? And then number 2, like, it means you can't visually picture any of this. And I think that was one of the problems, was like, no one, it wasn't even their fault. No one taught them to picture these things visually. Like that little circle with the little triangle I drew on it. Did anyone explain like early day 1 calculus to you like that? Ever? Probably not. They probably never drew shit like that. Maybe some of you, but like, I don't think anyone ever tried to do that for most students that I had. There were like a couple that might have thought of it that way, but like not enough. You know, the fact that most of them were never shown these simple things. Everything in calculus, there's some sort of like early formula from something like trig or geometry that you can take and draw out and be like, here's how we iterated on this in calculus to solve this more complex problem where we can't really define this number, whatever, right? And everything can be explained like that. I don't know why, like why why couldn't anyone explain this to these kids? They're all like one day single class explanations to get you to understand the why, and then you start going over the formulas. And now they can picture it. It would make me so mad. It would make me so mad. So angry, because it doesn't take that much effort from the teacher to give that baseline, you know? Were they taking this class for a general math requirement or for the major? For that one? Thank you. That wasn't that impressive though. Thank you. For that explanation, that is something I would tell someone in like Calc 1. College Calc 1. It's really simple. For the classes that I TA'd that were much later, I was usually doing stats, not calculus for that, or something similar. It was there were some that were very interested in this stuff, and there were some that weren't. They were just doing it for a requirement, but I felt like a lot of them were past the point of like they were interested in what they were studying for their degree, you know, like both aligned. So it was not really as much of an issue, but those were smaller classes. Some of them had like 8 people in them because everyone would drop out by the end of it, because I think so many people realized they didn't like high level math. like Calc 1 was fine because so many people needed stuff like that, all the early calc stuff and anything like early physics, like everyone needed that for requirements. So that stuff, you didn't have too many dropouts, but like 400 level, you know, all that kind of stuff and beyond, like you would have like, you'd start off with anywhere from 100 to like 30, you know, depending on what class it was and how popular it was, and you'd end up sometimes with like 5. It was getting a little sad, man, but that's just how it was, man. And I would try, as a TA, I would try so hard to keep people in the class, to just get them to stick it out, but they were too concerned about their GPA. And I was like, man, yeah, what can you do? What can you do? Or a lot of people realized they didn't want to be in certain types of engineering or math, and they wanted to go do something else. I can't tell you how many of them were studying something like that, and then we're like, I'm just gonna go do comp sci instead. And they quit math. I was like, no. Fuck, man. I'd try to keep them in it because I'd be like, hey, there are actually some tech positions where you really need this, and we don't have enough people for this type of stuff. And they would be like, I can't do this. I cannot do this. Which I understood, but I would always try. I don't know. I miss teaching, but I don't. I don't at all. I mostly did it because I got credits for it. You know? But still. Didn't get paid, though. Teachers don't get paid enough, so I would never do it. Nuh-uh. Nuh-uh. You remember that as the explanation of pi? Oh, the thing I drew? Yeah, pi is... Yeah. Pretty much. Close enough. You said, during my bachelor's here in Sweden, we often had presentations where we had to explain a certain aspect of sound design. And our teacher and mates challenged us to explain these aspects. We also did a lot of application of the stuff we were reading and writing about, and I really loved that. Yeah, I think people retain stuff better. Either way. Like, if you don't do that kind of stuff, I don't think... There's some people that learn from rote memorization and just sitting there and reading a thing. But I just believe that most don't at this point. So if you're doing project-based stuff, you're doing case studies, you're doing problem solving, like if you're teaching comp sci, you don't say, this is what this function does, and that's it. You say, here's a problem, how can I solve it with this function? And it sounds simple, but when you make someone do an entire project based around that, I feel like they learn a lot more. I really do. You didn't learn why it was called completing the square until your senior year of college in your history of math class, when the professor showed us the geometric way of doing it. Right. I feel like they should start with that. They should. I don't know. Math is one of those subjects I feel is the worst taught because I feel like it's not consistent throughout the years. Everyone assumes that everyone before them, every teacher before them, taught you some sort of basic, and none of them go over it. They all think you were all given the visualizations and the building blocks when like no teacher does it. They all think that everyone else does it, and then no one does it. And I think people like, I think they lose out so much on that. And occasionally you get like a really good teacher who will sit there and give you those basics. And like some students will be like, oh, I already know this. You're being patronized or whatever the fuck. But like most don't, you know? So sometimes you get those really good teachers and they're a gem, but I don't know, man. I don't know. Yeah, you said people tune out when they're just doing arbitrary tasks that they don't understand. Exactly. Exactly. It doesn't keep anyone engaged ever. So like you're teaching a room of people who aren't listening. So what's the point? Right? What's the point? You never knew the use or reason behind any high-level math after geometry? Yeah, a lot of it starts to get into like civil engineering or physics, you know, applications that are not jobs that like a ton of people are going to have, but I still think they should teach it through those lenses. But a lot of teachers arguably might not like be very familiar with that either, depending on what you're teaching. So, you know. But I think if you've ever studied structural and civil engineering, you would see how a lot of this really like weird specific math gets applied. And I think they should just reverse engineer it and teach it backwards. They should go, here's the problem for math students, and go, here's a problem that is solved using this method. And then they give you, you know, a word problem that shows the picture of the structure. And we're trying to understand, you know, what weight load can this thing handle? How many years will it take? What's the reliability of this part, you know, and like how can we calculate that? That kind of stuff. Or like a range. What's the expected range you should replace this part within? Stuff like that, you know? I don't know. But instead they're just like, find the range of this thing, and you're like, what the fuck is this jumble of symbols? You know? Like, why? When really I could be like, there's an oil pipeline doing this, and we need to figure out, you know, how often do we need to replace the gaskets? Like, you could give people these types of problems and they'll understand way more like why we're ever doing any of this, you know? I don't know, man. I don't know. I think almost all stats and math should be taught like in applied classes like that. I don't know, man. Speaking about just learning stuff, chemistry. Chem's another one that's really rough with that, yeah. I don't know. It's just the way stuff is standardized. Like, nothing's standardized where you have to teach things in applied manner. So they just don't, because it's easier not to. That's why labs help so much. I'd rather, so many of my classes, I would have rather just be like 80, 90% lab time. What do you think is the math level that should be universal? Math level? I think everyone should be able to do up to basic geometric proofs and understand them. And I think everyone should be taught to understand a lot of geometry, because I think it teaches, it exercises a lot of spatial memory that I think the average person seems to like really struggle with because they're not taught to think spatially. I think they should start geometry earlier and younger as well. I don't think they teach that very well. They teach math in a numbers on paper kind of way, and again, not spatially. Yeah, logic would be nice. Logic would be nice. I think geometry and proofs gets you there, though. I think starting that earlier and going through that really heavily. Yeah, proofs equals deduction. Easiest way to teach proofs is by geometry. That's exactly why I'm saying this. And I think you put kids in a mindset where they're thinking logically through, like, but why is this a square, right? Like, let's actually figure this out. And I think it's a way of thinking that everyone should be adjusted toward, in my opinion. People should think about the world that way a little more. Does that make sense? It's a baseline type of thinking. And if you teach someone younger, they start to see everything in that lens, and they start to be able to figure things out better. a lot of people will be stumped when looking at something. I can't figure this out, but then the person next to them can just figure something out. And it's because they were taught younger to think about something, let's say spatially, to think about something just differently. Their approach is different. And I think you can teach a lot more kids to be like that if you give them certain types of things earlier. I think proofs and geometry earlier are a good example. A good example. You're teaching them different methods of thinking instead of shoving them through like, okay, learn your times tables and then do like just boom straight into algebra. Like I don't know. There should be some of that, but what about the other stuff? I don't know. I think it's done a bit out of order in a way. Like you need both at the same time, I feel. I don't know. And again, like you said, like proofs equals deduction. It's teaching more logic-based stuff in math classes earlier is so important. And I think it'll teach kids how to ask the right questions when they're learning the later stuff. Just saying. Just saying. So that's why you don't fuck with STEM, took calc for economics and left it at that. And that's okay, because I think the way they teach it is shit. And I don't blame you. Chem fucking killed you. Yeah, chem is a lot of rote memorization. It's really... It's hard to make that make sense for a lot of people. There's not much you can do with it. Geometry and probability and stats early would help so many people with money too. Dude, you know what I wish? I wish they would take kids in middle school and take so many of their classes and center it around if they had to run a household. Imagine. They'll be like, you have this basket. You also have this piece of paper that's large, and you want to cut the piece of paper so that you can fit it into the basket because you're baking and you want to put shit in the basket. How do you cut it? How do you do the measurements? Find the area of these things. Find the sides of the triangles you're going to cut out so the basket can be a square with, 4 other squares around it, if you can visualize what I'm saying. Like that's... Do that. Practical application. I don't know. Because, like, I think what they do is they assume that kids at home have parents that, like, are very active with them and teach them everything in person and help them through this stuff and teach them to think in these ways. And they don't. They just don't. So I think you actually need to assume that the kids don't do anything practical at home. Just in case some of them don't, which a lot of them don't. I don't know. One of the weirdest problems nowadays is that kids lack such basic reading and writing skills that asking them to understand math formulas is like asking them to land a man on the moon. You want to know something scary? I know somebody that works in an office that evaluates kids, very young kids, to see if they need early intervention. Okay, early intervention being if they need speech therapy, they need physical therapy, occupational therapy, they need, they have learning disability, they need services on top of school. They need some sort of service. It's kind of like special education. Sometimes it's outside of that. I know someone who works in one of these offices. They evaluate kids before they get to kindergarten. Okay? So that they can get them in these programs early so they may eliminate their need for later services. The number of kids that get put through these programs for different types of therapy, not because they have any developmental issues that are like really caused by something in their brain, but simply because their parents didn't teach them how to read and they need to be caught up. Or their parents did not teach them how to speak because their kid had some sort of thing that they were saying a little incorrectly and they just never sat there and helped them sound it out. It's not just iPad kids. It's just neglectful parents. It's not always tech related. It's so many over the years, so many more kids that they have to pull from preschool, get evaluated, and give them speech therapy because their parent just wouldn't sit with them and teach them how to speak correctly. It's crazy how many kids need that. Crazy. And so many more in like recent years. It's insane. It's nuts. Or yeah. Crow, you said main issue kids are having these days is being unable to hold a pencil well since they don't color or draw as much anymore. They literally, this is the same topic, they literally put so many kids through, like young children, through occupational therapy to develop fine motor skills because they only hold the device and use their finger to poke a thing, and they do not play with Legos. They do not like use their hands in any dynamic way often. So then when they have to hold a pencil, they can't do it. They can't do it. They've only been alive for 5 years, 4 years, and they never really developed anything in their hands to be able to do that. So they have to sit there and get put through occupational therapy to be able to hold objects and manipulate them, like, to a degree where they never had to do this in the past because kids would color a lot and play with toys that required them to build, you know? It's really, yeah, it's depressing. It really is. It's one of my close friends that does this kind of work too. So her main thing is occupational therapy with kids, and she sits there with kids. Again, these kids have no neurological issues, no developmental issues that arose from anything medical. It is purely that they just never developed muscles to be able to do this. They never developed dexterity. It's crazy. Even playing and molding Play-Doh is a great way to strengthen those fine motor skills, which leads up to writing. Yeah. One of the things they do is they take Play-Doh and they put an object inside of it, and they're like, get it out. Take the Play-Doh and like peel it apart to get the thing out. And they make them just do this a lot so that they learn. And they'd be like, okay, now do it, but don't use your pointer finger. Hold your pointer finger up and then like use your other 3 fingers and your thumb to do it. And they like force them to do it like that. Or they'll be like, okay, now use your pinkies, you know? and like they try to make it like a fun thing for them. And they'll race them. They'll be like, oh, I'll do mine with my pinkies. Let's race, you know, to get like the kids to have fun with it. Cause they're like 4, you know, 4 or 5. But yeah, that's all the like OT stuff. Actually, that's a field that needs a lot of people if anyone's looking for a job switch and wants something really reliable. But it takes a lot of schooling. But it's a like, really reliable career is doing like OT for kids, PT for kids. There are not enough people doing it. But yeah, you just dug dirt with your hands a lot as a kid. Yeah, a lot of kids went outside. They would do like gardening with their parents, or like if you went on the beach and you'd pick up shells and stuff. Like you would just do stuff. But these kids just don't do stuff. Like, they don't do anything, you know? Yeah, Legos. Exactly. Honestly, yeah, nature. Throw them outside. Obviously not alone. Throw them outside and do shit with them, and they'll learn so much more. They'll physically be able to do stuff. Bring back pulling weeds as punishment. I think kids should be forced to garden. Put them back in the mines and on the farms. No, they need to do something to manipulate objects, like small objects. They can develop fine motor skills and like be able to use their fingers. I don't know. Make them play Monster Hunter 2G on the PSP and use the claw grip. Just saying. That's what they gotta do. But is parents will seriously like... Parents be like, I don't understand why my son, who has only ever watched surprise egg videos, doesn't know how to open a surprise egg himself. I don't understand why my kid, who has only ever stuck out their index finger and clicked on the play button on the surprise egg video, can't open the surprise egg with their pinkies. I'm like, what have you had them do? Nothing. That's why. That's why. Do the states not have mandatory instruments taught in schools? Didn't go to elementary in North America. In Korea, we all had to learn to play the recorder. In a lot of North American schools, they make you do recorder as well. Yeah. Or they require you take an instrument. It depends on the school. It depends on funding if they have stuff like that. Some of them, they just make them sing because they don't have the equipment. But usually it's stuff like recorder and things like that. At least briefly. A lot of them, I think with a lot of schools, it's different per state. But a lot of them will make you do recorder for a short bit. And then after that, then you have to like pick an instrument. And a lot of kids pick singing, but you do orchestra or band or whatever, and you know, just go into that for a little bit. It depends. Can't open Pokemon card packs, but watches pack opening videos all day. Kid dreams of opening that Charizard, but can't get the package
open. The only way to entertain yourself was to spin a wheel with a stick.
Ooh.
Spinners, we call them. You'd go down to the local general store with a nickel and say, 1 bee for a spinner please, because nickels had pictures of bees on them at the time. Anyway, after you were done, you'd tie an onion to your belt because that was the style at the time, and spin the wheel home.
That's right. That's right. You know what I used to do all the time? I'd play fucking handball and stickball. Mostly handball, because sticks were hard to come by. Sometimes a good stick. We'd pick up a ball and throw it at a concrete wall, and it would bounce back, and then we keep slapping it. And we developed like pretty good hand-eye coordination from this. And like in the city, there are a lot of handball courts, a lot of them. And that was just, we just go crazy on fucking handball. That's just wall ball. It's called handball where I'm from, buddy. So we go crazy on handball. And I had one of my cousin's kids, so like my cousin once removed, one of my cousin's kids. I was like, yo, let's play handball. And this kid is not a complete iPad kid, but he's not physically inclined. Like, he's never really done much with sports. This child, the ball would bounce toward him at a slow speed, and his hand would be like a foot above where the ball was. He had no coordination. He could do fine motor skill stuff. He could put Legos together, but the moment his hand left his vision, he had no idea where his hand was. No clue. So if the ball was whizzing past his head and he had to put his hand somewhere near it and maybe smack it, he would be nowhere near. I was like, there's no way it's this bad. And I was pointing out to my cousin, and I was like, you got to put him in something. Make him do something. So she put him in a sport, and he's good now. But I was like, if you don't do this now, it's never gonna happen. Thank God. She was more concerned with like fine motor skills, and she was like really anal about a lot of that stuff. So she had the right mindset. She just like didn't really put him in sports, and I was like, you gotta do something, man. Yeah, hop on this, cuzzo. Hop on this right now. Remember when computer games were used to advertise improving hand-eye coordination in the box? And it's true. It's true. Yup. You know how many people like haven't held a controller before? You ever have someone play video games that's just never done it before, and they have to look down at the controller so much, and they can never like memorize where the A button is unless they leave their finger on it. And then you're like, okay, now reach for B. They're like, they look straight down. And if you say don't look down, they're like, and they just like freak out and they can't do it. There's a lot. I think it's genuinely good for people to do things like this, because you become able, again, spatial awareness. We were talking about like being able to think spatially, being able to look at something and then look up from it and sort of be able to make your way around it now. That's a skill. Controllers are too ergonomic, and kids these days aren't scrambling for the C stick and Z targeting. I'm telling you, everyone has to play Monster Hunter on PSP and claw grip it. Everyone has to go through it. Make them do it, man. I think everyone should have to play a game that requires a joystick. You ever play like an old PC game and you have to fly around and shoot and you got a joystick with just like one thumb button and one trigger? That shit fucked. I think everyone should have to do that. Everyone's saying GoldenEye. You didn't play anything else that used that? Nothing? Fighting games, it's different. That's different. Proprioception, ability to tell where your limbs and digits are without seeing them. Yeah, I think the people best with that kind of stuff tend to be dancers. Dancers, gymnasts. I think everyone should have to dance. I remember when I was younger. So I always did dance for a very long time. It's something I kept with for a really long time. Always loved it. And I was trying to get my brothers into it. And this was at a time when you could call things gay and you didn't mean like to offend someone who was homosexual. This was like, a long time ago. We don't say that no mo. I remember my brothers being like, that's gay. And I was like, it's actually really not. And you're gonna hit like your 20s and some girl's gonna be like, I want to dance. And then you're gonna be like, and you're gonna look like shit and you're gonna be like, no. And I don't think you need to take dance classes for a long time, but you need to be able to move your body and not look like an idiot so you can feel good about yourself. And only one of my brothers did it. Only one of my brothers did. And he's the only one. He doesn't even like love dancing. He doesn't go crazy at parties or anything like that. But he just, the way he stands looks different. He has better posture when he's around people. You could tell he's like, oh, I need to look good right now. And then he can do it because he's aware of what he looks like without looking at himself. But then my other brothers, they try to do the same thing, but they don't have that perception of themselves. where they can like look good, stand up straight, and not look weird without looking at themselves in the mirror. So they like have a hard time. So you see them straighten up, they look awkward, you know? And I was like, I think it was the dance that did it. Like learning to be aware of yourself. I don't know. I think it's a good thing for everyone. Kind of do yourself a disservice if you can't do it. But it's the sort of thing you can get good at later in life. You don't have to do that when you're young. It just makes it easier. It just makes that easier. Got any preferred dance style? Honestly, I liked all of it. I liked all of it. I think just like higher level jazz was my most favorite. Got lots of background in dance, but how do I make that lucrative? Oh, you don't. Dance is it's like being a painter. Man, it's you don't make money unless you're like the top X% of people, and even those people work themselves to the bone and don't make much money. There's really no good money. If you want to make it just somewhat lucrative and you're living somewhere cheap, then being like a kid's dance teacher is really the only way. Yeah, for the love of the game. Exactly. He said, fuck, I paint too. I feel like the arts are like that. How do I make singing lucrative? It's like the same kind of thing. It's rough. It's just everyone wants to do it and no one wants to pay a lot for it. So, rip. You regret not going to ballroom back in high school? There are a lot of places you can go as an adult to do this kind of stuff, though. Like, if you are completely awkward, you have 5 left feet, and you can't move at all, there are so many adult dance classes that are not that expensive, and you don't have to do really long courses for, that you can go to, and it's just a time put in thing. It's literally just a time put in thing. You just have to attempt, do it a little more often, and you'll become more self-aware of your body and what it looks like without you staring at yourself. But I think it's worth it. I think it's good. Yeah, you said you can make a livable wage doing it, but it's like you're owning your own business at the end of the day. Not always, though. I think a lot of dance teachers nowadays are getting paid like not that high above minimum wage. And that's assuming you're working like all day that you can make that actually work for you. I used to teach dance classes. That was one of my many gigs I had when I was in school, and I had to pay for all my schooling myself. I did everything that I knew how to do. I tried to find a way to like teach it or do private lessons on a thing or whatever. And then I had like a normal job. And I just hustled because I really, really, really needed money to pay for school. So one of the things I did was some dance classes and stuff. What type jazz? Sometimes, yeah. Whatever was needed. Whatever was needed, because I took all those classes at some point. So, you know, I was just able to do it. But yeah, jazz was my favorite, 100%. Like weird Fosse type shit. I love that. It was a long time ago. It didn't make that much money, but I would do it in between other things. And it was at least like I could get like a 3 to 6 month gig with a once a week, twice a week class and get guaranteed paid for some time once or twice a week in a slot. It was at least something, you know, that I could regularly get. So I would do that. But I taught a lot of different things. It was really like, you know, what was needed. You worked summer intensives for ballet. Yeah, I did a lot of stuff like that where it was like training session, a lot of like muscle training. So there would be, like you said, intensives. There would be classes that are for the sake of learning how to dance. And then there would also be classes that are just doing a lot of things over and over to strengthen certain muscles to be better for a type of dance. So ballet is a good one where there's a lot of just doing routine after routine just to keep certain muscles really strong. There was a lot of that for jazz as well. A lot of stretching and things that you have to do. And some people would take additional classes to have extra time doing that. And a lot of that was the stuff that I taught as well, was just going through and sitting with people for an hour and just doing nonstop like a routine of 10 things over and over around a room to just like get yourself to not be weak. You know, because a lot of other dance classes would be centered around specifically learning a routine and practicing it for a competition or for a show or whatever. And if you don't do the basics in between, you kind of lose some of that muscle. So I would do a lot of that kind of stuff for like competition kids and stuff. It was fun. And it kept me in shape, so I liked it. I liked it a lot. Jazzercise. I always wanted to do that. I've never like done jazzercise because there aren't many people that do that because it's a very old thing. Now it's all about Zumba, but I always wanted to do like proper old school jazzercise. It looks so intense. So insanely intense. Calf raises for 15 minutes straight. Yeah, you do shit like that for ballet. I did ballet a lot, and I stopped at some point because I went on point too early, a little too early. It wasn't really that I went that early, but I developed some issues that were, I was starting to develop some issues in my feet from it. So I still did ballet, but it didn't make it my main focus. I wanted to, but I was gonna destroy my feet. I was gonna completely destroy my feet. So that's why I kind of went the route of like jazz, because you do a lot of like interesting movements and things too, but without having like point shoes that kill your feet. I like saw the writing on the wall and I was like, I shouldn't continue this. So I still did it, but you know, I wasn't doing like 3 classes a week kind of thing like some people were doing, you know. I also couldn't afford that many classes. I was able to do a lot of stuff because a lot of things were free for me. When you're broken in a city, there are a lot of programs that get offered to you. So there were a lot of things that I was able to try and just do. But if you wanted to do more time in them, you'd have to pay. So there's some stuff that I just didn't get to do because I was not about to pay for that extra 2 classes a week or whatever, you know? That wasn't going to be possible for me. So for ballet, that was one of those. If I wanted to like focus on it, I would have had to go to like an expensive academy style place, and there was no way I was affording that. No way. And there are no scholarships for dance. It's too competitive and there's no money in dance to begin with. So like, you know, there's just no way. What haven't you done if you like your experience and everything? Like I said, when you're broken in a city like New York, you get a lot of chances to do a lot of things for free through a lot of different programs. So I just took advantage of all of that as best I could. Anything that I could just go and try, I was like, I gotta do it, because I was of the impression that I would never make any money ever, because I think when you don't have money, you you think it's forever, even if you hope it's not. So I was just like, I'm gonna do everything I can. And I just sent myself to every class I could take. I tried everything I could try. There were some things where you had to do something in exchange. You have to do some sort of service, some sort of time, you know, in exchange to be able to learn this thing. But I would do that because I wanted to be well-rounded, but I was very aware that I would never be able to pay, or I thought I would never be able to pay for anything. So, you know, so I tried everything as best I could, you know. I don't know, when you don't have money and you feel like everyone around you can do shit and you can't, you get a little desperate and you're like, I need to find ways. So I found ways, right? That was just kind of it. Blushy, thank you for the resub, and Beast as well. You said, went old school style, no smartphone or AI. Actually, I can't read that whole paragraph. It's so long and you XD'd in it too much. I can't do it. But I appreciate it. Thank you for typing. Kid GEEGA had that dog in her. I had so much passion, it was crazy. So much pee. I just nowadays, I think I burnt myself out as a child. I think I set myself on a grind set. And then like when I was a working adult, I still kind of set myself on a grind set. And at some point I was like, this is crazy. I need to slow down. I didn't really, but I at least didn't do a million things. I whole ass 2 things, you know, which was a lot better for me. But I did way too much. I did way too much. Experienced a midlife crisis in her young adult years. Yeah, yeah. It was too much fun. And I didn't even realize I was having a crisis because I was like doing shit all the time. I was too busy. I was too busy to realize I was doing a lot of shit. So if I could go back, I would tell my younger self to just do less. I'd be like, it's so cool to experience this. It's so cool to say you did this. But in the long run, you're not going to do this forever. So just stop. You've already reached surface level. I've tried it. You don't need to like whole ass things for 2 years every time you do anything, you know, but I would always do it. I would make younger self do that less. No, I mean, you still sound to be doing a lot behind the scenes here. Yeah. Yeah. And then when I'm not working on something, I go open a game and play it. Like I can't not do something, which is why I love games. I love MMOs. I love shit like that because like when I'm done with like my work for the day, I still have to feel like I'm doing something, and playing games gives me that feeling, right? Love roguelikes. Do a run. Do a run. It's like a short I'm really doing something. I'm getting something finished, right? I'm doing a run, I'm completing something, and like my brain craves that. So that. And yeah, in MMOs, like I could always just grind more. I could always get more. I could always log into No Pixel and go make more money. Always. On my character. I always could. Yes. So my brain loves it. I don't know. It's just my MO. Oh, what is this? You said you got rejected and ghosted from 33 internships and you're getting desperate? What field, if you don't mind saying? What field? I feel like that numbers, it sounds high, but a lot of people experience that too. So you're not an outlier, unfortunately, in that. That's still a lot. Still a lot. You feel like you can't single task anymore? You're always multitasking? I think the world is trending toward that. Like everyone's kind of trending toward multitasking all the time, but I think people should try to do it less. Loki, thank you for the raid. Hello. Welcome on in. Yeah, 33 is a lot though. Illustration / art. Oh, well, unfortunately, that's why. It's a competitive field. Everyone wants to be doing that. It's a skill you can grind without going to school for it. So there are a lot of people that have gotten good at it because they practiced a lot, because practicing is not completely free, but virtually free. And that's the problem. Working in that field is so hard. Just because you can just get better at it. And a lot of people just do. And a lot of people enter that field in general and learn to get on the grind set quick. So, you know. Yeah, Loki, go eat. you don't have to stay. Appreciate the raid. I mean, you should keep trying. You should keep trying, but it's always going to be tough in anything competitive. That's just how it is. I would say work on something else on the side. So that way, if it doesn't work out for you very well, it's not dire. You know? Whenever you do something competitive, you need to have a non-competitive fallback. Because having something reliable that you know you can do if things go bad takes so much stress off of you. It turns it from being something that's a sad experience to, you know? or if you don't have a fallback, this is so dire that your life depends on it, right? But then if you do have a fallback, your life doesn't depend on it. It's just something you want to do, right? Okay, I don't know why the second one finally came through, but thank you. Asterix as well, thank you for the raid. Welcome on in. The first raid notice didn't come through, but now it did. Thank you. So like Juniper being paralegal and also an amazing artist. I also got to say, when you're trying to do creative stuff, if your job is the creative thing, it's very easy to burn out. So I think it's really good to have a side thing that you do that's specifically not creative. Because then throughout the day, that part of your mind does think up stuff. You might think up of an art prompt, or you might see something and be like, I want to sketch that, or whatever it is. You know, like that part of your brain is still there, but it's not being overused. So if you work, let's say you end up like learning 3D modeling, and then you work 3D modeling. At the end of the day, you're not going to want to start drawing and sketching, because a lot of that type of thought you've done throughout the day, and you start to be sick of it. You start to be so sick of it. So I feel like it's good to balance that with something else if you can. Which I know sucks because my advice is like, do something else, but like balance it, you know, is what I'm saying. Because genuinely, like, it could be hard. It can be really tough. Looking into other fields like nonprofit and admin while doing my VT project on the side right now. Aren't one day. Yeah. Like working in just like administrative tasks, right? Being an administrative assistant, then going from there. Stuff like that is just reliable, and it's good to have on the side. Have any recommendations of other careers artistic people might pivot to? No, because artistic is such a broad thing, and so many people are creative in general. Everyone's so creative, but it's such a personal question for each person, and you know, there might be someone who's good at art who could just go be a developer because they just think like that, and that's okay. There might be some people that are good at art that could never do that. Someone might be better off working in childcare. You know, you know what I mean? Like, it's so heavily dependent on the person, and artistic is not a good common trait to group people by because it's so vague. You know what I mean? So I wouldn't want to recommend off of that because it's like, I'm a person with two legs, you know, and I'm right-handed. What should I do? Like a lot of people are like that. You do private security and also went to culinary college and did plumbing for 13 years. I have two skills I could always fall back on. The trades are goated for that. Goated for having a fallback. Because a lot of them, you can do that kind of work without having a salaried position somewhere. You know, you can go to a place and be like, hey, I'd like to take on 1 or 2 jobs a week doing this thing in this trade. And they will just, some places will just take you. Depends on what type of trade you're in. But you can get more infrequent work, so you're able to go and kind of balance it with other stuff time-wise. I have a friend who had a job that wasn't really going anywhere, so he just became an electrician on the side. He studied and did that for like a year or 2. And now after that, he then went back and he just balances both. And he just occasionally gets called in to do electrical work on some project. And he'll, if he feels like taking it, he'll be like, yeah, I can do this. And he'll take it, make good money doing it. And then he'll go do his other job, which doesn't pay that well. But because it's supplemented, he's doing all right. And he's happy with that. And he was like, yeah, if the money's bad at the other job, I'll just go be an electrician full time if I gotta. And he had to pivot to it. He had to put a little money in to go to school for it. But he most of his time spent on an apprenticeship, and he managed to get one that he didn't really have to pay much for. He had to buy equipment and everything. He had to put time in, but they just taught him so long as he would work there for like a year or 2 afterward. So it's pretty good. It's pretty good. You know? Oh, you'll eventually pivot to therapy? Yes. That's the way to do it. It is the way to do it. I will say, if you're looking for something to make money right now while you're in like grad school, and you're like, what could I do to build up a skill, whatever, I would say don't actually worry about it too much. I assume you're already taking loans or you're on a scholarship that's paying for things or whatever. I would just get some normal ass job, and it's okay if it's a dead end, whatever. Nothing that's going to turn into a career. Normal ass, basic ass job that gives you a little money. Use that to live, because no amount of money you're going to make right now is going to be significant enough to go and pay that shit off. So it's not worth thinking about now. If you're going to something like therapy and you're going to be a therapist, that's a really good end goal. That's a good job and it will pay okay. You will get money later, and just focus on getting there and being really good at that, and focus on that career so you can get a good job doing it, make a good amount of money, and then pay off your shit later. But basic ass job for now. You don't need to have a secondary thing that like is career-ish, you know, when you're already going towards something that's like pretty good like that, you know? Because you're going to be in something that there is a need for, and you're going to get paid all right. Probably. And you avoid burnout? Tried many hobbies with you just may lose interest after 4 to 5 months, regardless of how I approach the hobby. That doesn't mean you're burning out. It means you're just losing interest. Burnout and like not being able to stick to something are different. So I wouldn't call it burnout. Totally different. If you lose interest in stuff, then you have to accept that about yourself. Stop buying or putting a lot of money into something that you lose interest in, and just let yourself hop around between shit, because you're just that kind of person. That's okay. Just don't buy, like, you know, don't get into a hobby, like VTubing, buy a $3,000 VTuber model and then be done with it in 5 months. Like, just know you're that person. Know you're going to do that. And be like, I want to try this. I'm going to buy that. Like, I'm going to use a free one. You know what I mean? And it's okay to hop around. It's totally fine. You know? But actual burnout is like a... It affects you almost like a mental illness does. Almost like, or an affliction like depression. How it genuinely alters how your brain works. If you're suffering from, like, definition of burnout. And that's really intense and serious, and it's a little different. So, you know, if you just get bored of things or become disinterested, you're just that guy, you know? You just gotta embrace it, man. Burnout sucks. Yeah, like I'm not fully burnt out myself, but there's some things I've experienced like that on the past year. And there's some things where I'm like, I just can't do it. And I just know better every day, like where my limits are. And I just stop myself before I get to like medical clinical burnout, you know? like I try to keep myself from that. So, but you just have to be aware of yourself. You have to do that like cringe thing where you sit down and you're like looking in the mirror. How are we feeling today? And check in with yourself mentally. You have to be cringe and do it. Think you'll ever burn out on streaming? Not on streaming, but a lot of stuff around it. I absolutely could, but I'm keeping myself from doing that. I'd rather just slow down on a thing and do like a shitty job at it for a short time than actually burn out. So because I kind of know where my limits are, I've been just like, if I need to drop something for a little bit, I let it drop. Instead of being like, let me push through and finish this thing, get over the finish line, and then never do it again, you know? You have to think about yourself long term. For sure. I think with streaming, the thing that burns people out is usually the stuff around it, not the act of streaming. Because streaming, you can, but it's usually the mental game. Something that actually burns people out is some variety streamers get really tired of trying to pick new things. This sounds so like such a first world problem, but having to constantly pick new things to do, new things to talk about, new games to play, having to constantly like find a new thing actually burns a lot of people out. So it's not like the act of streaming itself, but it's like all that decision making and choice around it. If they're not the person who feels really comfortable easily, quickly making these decisions, if that takes mental energy out of them, some people burn out from that. It's true. Or they get burnt out because of the interactions they have with chat, right? Like I would always say, like, I know Queso makes little fat jokes about himself here and there, but sometimes the way his chat talks to him about it, you see him like stop making his jokes for a little bit. It's like that can be an actual burnout thing for some people, you know? So there's some stuff where I'm like, hey, if you see something happening and it looks exhausting for that person, don't contribute. Don't contribute, man. Be nice to him. I don't think he's burning out from that in particular, but it's like an example of something that could bother someone. I think one example is a bunch of VTubers have chats that like are always negging them and are always like, haha, bully the streamer. Some people can tank that forever. Some people tank it for a bit and then get straight up burnt out, and they stream less and they're like, oh, I've just been so busy, but realistically, like, their chat has made them tired. You know? It can be rough, man. Hi, Noro. Well, come on in. I was watching your speed paint earlier on the screen while you were working on shit. Hope stream was good. Hope stream was great. I was talking about shit that burns out streamers. That's why you like this community, because it doesn't happen here. Yeah, Nora, I was saying something that burns people out is like those chats that bully the streamer, and that's their whole bit, and they don't have any other jokes because they're unfunny, man. They'll be funny in another chat, and then they get to that chat and they forget who they are, and they just type a bunch of unfunny, like, bullying shit at the streamer, and I'm like, I've seen you in other places. I know you can do it. Like, like what are you doing, man? But I think they just get caught up in like the community vibe. So they just do that. I don't know. I don't like that. It's not about whether or not you can handle it. It's like, do you want this? For me, absolutely no. So we don't do that here. We don't, man. Mage's chat confuses you so much doing that. I modded in her chat. I hold back a lot. There are some times I want to ban so many people because I'm like, what are you saying? And then sometimes they're just playing into a meme, but they don't know how to type a thing with tact, so it just comes out bad. And I'm like, you know, do it. I should. My standards for what I allow are completely different from a lot of other people's, so I try to like not, you know, unless my friend asks me to, then, you know. The chat uses TTS to infantilize her for 45 minutes at a time and you want to die. I know, it's not just her, it's a lot of people. It's a lot of people that they do that too. Remember when I went on an arc where I played a lot of GTA for a while? Remember that? And I played some variety still, but I stuck to that. You know what that arc did that I really liked, and one of the reasons I kept with it for a bit longer? It took those types and put them out of my chat. The culling. Those types could not handle listening to someone being a gangster RPer and being like, who you roll with? What block you on? They just were like, whoa. They could not handle like my gang getting shot up and shit. Like, and then hearing people shit talk us and they were like, this is so toxic, I can't be here. Dude, it was the great filter, the great purge. It was wonderful, okay? And I just, you know, we came out of it, and I feel like we had this wonderful cleansing, and we've just been moving on since then. I think I stopped playing on main like what, last August. It's been almost a year, but still, since then I'm like, wow, I really don't see any of that in the chat anymore. And it's really nice. It's really nice. You know? It's wonderful. Are you Dundee? Why not? Yeah. Tony, the best filter, brother. That's the other thing. A lot of having like so many male friends on the stream with me. Be honest, there are people that get filtered out by that, and that's great. I think if a chatter can't handle like me having a male friend, oh man, like I don't want them sitting here. Like they should go. It's not the spot for them, you know what I mean? So yeah, there was a lot of stuff like that just called people, and it was wonderful. It's wonderful. You're ruining the dollhouse fantasy. I know. Buddha's the great filter. Dude, it's true. It's true. Him staying there being like, sell weed, sell some fucking weed. He starts screaming and you hear him peeking his mic. And that kind of stuff really did filter a lot of people that I didn't want here, because I felt like I had to walk on eggshells and stuff all the time, and it became more comfortable for me. It really did. It's so much better, man. It's so much more comfortable. So I can imagine that being a filter because people who do get into the banter would get banned. Yeah. Pretty much. You said, but then you get the RP types, which can be bad. That can be its own bad thing, but those people were never, like the bad ones from that community never got to settle in here because we filtered them too. They would come in and they'd like be like, yo gang ain't shit, and I'd be like, oh, you want to talk shit? Log in, buddy. And then they'd remember that they're not on the server and they would go cry or something. But we kept them out real quick. They'd be like, you should talk to this character and do this. And I'd be like, why don't you log in and tell them? every time I hit them with the you log in, they'd be like, ooh. We filter those people real quick. You know, you pass the great vibe check of 24. Mm-hmm. What is this? You said, what do those types of chatters do about bi people? Yeah, when you have male and female friends? No. Not allowed, not allowed. Those streamers can't have any friends, man. I don't know, man. I feel like I always had like a core community that was really great. But then as I grew and the quicker I grew, you get a lot of like random people in that don't quite get the vibe. And when you get a lot of them at once, the vibe of the chat shifts. And it can be a little hard to pull it back. So sometimes you do a thing and it just calls some people in a good way. In a good way. I said yet to see these ERP instigators that people mention. Oh, I think if you go to some other RP chats, you would see it. There are people that go into chats and they see like two people hanging out on a server, and they type all caps. You know, you're like a dude streamer and your character is sitting next to a female streamer's female character in game, and they'll be like, they're so cute together, that's so romantic, and they're just talking, they're just sitting on a bench talking, they're just hanging out, you know, like that shit makes it so awkward for people sometimes because they're not trying to make it that kind of scene. A lot of my friends have them, so when I'm like hanging out with those people, we'll see stuff and I'm like, poor Barky. He's messaged me after his own streams and been like, I'm so sorry, please ignore. I'm like, you don't have, I get it. You don't have to say shit. We're good, you know. It's people are just, I don't know. It's funny. It's like when people spam Riz over someone just talking to a woman. Yeah, yeah. They don't just do it on game servers, they do it to streamers. Like a streamer will talk to another streamer on Discord and they haven't talked yet. So they're like a little awkward and they're like, hi, hey, hee hee, you know? It's like that little awkward energy. And like the dudes chat usually, especially, but either chat, they'll be spamming stuff. They'll be like, Riz, Riz, L Riz, L Riz, W Riz. And I'm like, it's two people talking. Man, it's just, I don't know. They make it a thing. They make it awkward. Because oftentimes those people are just going into it and they're like, I'm nervous to talk to someone I've never talked to before. Haha. And then their chat now made it a thing. Like now you're very aware of your sexuality in this moment again because we keep reminding you of it. You know what I mean? Like, like they keep bringing it up and like I feel like they're like willing those kinds of thoughts into existence, even if it's like negative. You know, they're just like bringing it up when it wasn't even a thought before. I don't know. These kinds of chats freak me out, dude. They freak me out. Back in the day, Harry and Rain had characters that were dating. The ERP chatters were so bad. And the thing is, like, I've seen a lot of clips of the two of them talking, and their characters would say, like, freak shit to each other. Like, they were so funny, and it was so obvious that what they were doing was like, comedic. Even so, you had people being weird about the two streamers. And I was like, man, it makes it so hard for people to, like, have a storyline where a character likes another character, because even if it's like good storytelling, good writing, you know, you're like coming up with an idea, people get so weird about it. They get so weird about it. Harry and Penny arc was so weird. I know. It was really funny though, so I'm glad they did it. Because looking back at clips of it, that shit was funny as fuck. That's why I keep having like my character say the shit that she says to Peppo's character, because like it's so funny. His character got married and then my character's just standing there and like we get along better. Like, because we OOC are like very chill, you know? We have a lot of common interests. So I just keep bringing up our common interests in character to him. So he like, so he struggles. And it's funny. It's just funny as fuck, you know? But I think it's hard because some chats can't handle that, you know? His chat is funny with it. Yeah, Edgar roleplay. No, they are really funny with it. And that's why I'm comfortable with it, because they're chill. They understand it's comedy, you know? But it makes it hard. Bye-bye, Noro. Go to sleep. Go to sleep. Lucy Eve shit was funny. Yeah. It's hard because you as a streamer, too, like, sometimes you have a funny dynamic with someone. And there are a lot of, like, streamer duos where they're male-female. And they do these bits. And a lot of the bits are based around, like, the awkwardness between the two of them. And it can be really funny. But people always try to, like, make it romantically charged. Like the chat. They try to make it romantically charged. because the awkward moments like could be romantic or not. Like it's just vague, you know, and it's easy to just, you could look at it with whatever lens you want, and it makes sense to you. So a lot of people start to like see it that way. When it's not that, it's just like an awkward bit. But it's hard for streamers because like if that's the kind of bit they're best at, and then they do it at somebody, and they're a straight person, and that person is the opposite sex, it just, you know what I mean? Like, the chat will just kind of go crazy with it. And, like, they'll pick it up and run, and I'm like, they're just doing an awkward bit. I don't know. It's tough. Yeah, right. Like they say, like tension equals love, but the tension bits that people do, like, it's so funny to watch. It's so interesting to watch. So that's why people do that a lot. But yeah, a lot of people see it as like a love thing every time. But it's funny. It's still funny. The joking cat and mouse stuff is really entertaining. Exactly. That's why I have certain friends that I'll just always tease over shit, you know? Like I get that all the time with I've always had that with Joel, where so many people would be like so weird about us because we have a lot of like banter back and forth. And they'd always be like it's the married couple banter kind of thing. And like I never really stopped doing it because neither of our chats are ultra weird about it. It's just like YouTube commenters that don't really watch us live, like they're kind of weird about it sometimes, but it's not a big deal. So we just kept with it because like neither chat got overly weird. There would be some people that would say stuff and we'd be like, all right, you got to calm down because like this is content, we're friends, you know? But for the most part, people were good about it, so we just kept doing it. I've had other friends where I've been like, I can't do this banter with you because people get weird, you know? Some people really think you divorced him because of some thumbnails. There's that one clip. How many views does it have now? There's that one clip. Let me see. Hold on, let me find it. Yeah, oh my god, my own clip on my own channel. Froggy learns that GEEGA and Joel were married. Okay, and then the thumbnail is her going, "You're married?" And it was just us doing the divorced bit in front of her. It is 135,000 views. It is 135,000 views. That's crazy. That's crazy. If I open it, like a lot of people are with the bit. There's a second comment just says it's so good to see them on good terms after the divorce. like most people are just doing it, but a lot of the downvoted stuff, they're like, there's so much that we had to remove. A lot of it isn't even here anymore. It's people going, is this a joke? Is this actually a joke? I don't know, man. I don't know. That shit's funny, though. It's funny because out of the thousands of couple baiting clips for all VTubers, literally none has ever been true. Yeah, the ones that have baited for it for content, none of them have been true. It's only ones that accidentally leaked, like Babegate, right? with Nyan and Aethel, when they accidentally called each other babe. Who one of them said babe accident? Was it Nyan that said it? Like, the only times things like that have been like real is like when it's like a slip up like that and then they admit it, right? Yeah, it was Nyan that said it. That's the kind of stuff that's turned out to be real. That shit's funny, man. You rewatch Babegate sometimes when you want to be happy. Oh, man. Oh, man. That's so funny. So fucking funny, man. I can't. Chat was filled with let's go. His chat was just rooting for him so hard. I think my favorite was there was like a clip that came out later where he said, he was like, guys, how is it not obvious? No guy would sit there and play through all of Final Fantasy X with a girl unless he just liked her. And I was like, he was like, I would never do that shit if I didn't like her. That shit was so funny. I was like, you're so right. You're so right. Oh, he was like, that shit was torture. Oh my god. That's true. That's true. You do crazy shit for people sometimes. Crazy shit. Fucked up tennis peak. No, man. No. 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 We need another one of those. Something, it doesn't have to be like a romance thing, but like Babegate was great. It was a moment of like some people having meltdowns, but a lot of people being really happy. I we need another like something gate. I don't know what. And I don't want it to be like bad and dramatic. I don't want it to be negatively dramatic. I want it to be like positively dramatic, okay? Like that one. I crave it. I crave it. I need someone to do something quick. Someone needs to make some shit up or something for the content. You got it, man. Glad they're still together. Yeah, me too. Would Michi Numi count? If you think that's real, you're crazy. Poopgate streamer pooped their pants live on stream. Ooh. Ooh, okay, okay. We miss Ethel's wiener still hurt. What happened? Wait, hold on. I don't know. Fill me in. I don't know the lore. What do you mean his wiener still hurt? What happened to his pee-pee? Is he okay? It's his jaw? What is he getting something done? What's he doing? Code for Steve. Yeah, what did he get done? He broke his wiener. He had a procedure. Oh, did he say for what? I remember him saying something a while back. He slammed it in a car door. Several dental procedures. Oh, those are so rough to heal from. Cause like it's your mouth. You eat. You have to eat. You have to drink. Like you have to survive. So it's just so annoying. You just saw Babegate for the first time. Did you? It's so entertaining. I miss shit like that, man. Oh yeah, did he get it wired shut? I wonder. That depends on the procedure. You had to get gum surgery, jaw surgery, tooth surgery. It's a lot of stuff. Oh, he must be getting implants and things too. Oh. Oh, that stuff is so tough. Oh, it gives me the heebies thinking about like, oh, mouth surgeries. Ow. Hope he recovers well from it. Butthole wired shut. Yeah, that way Poopgate can't happen no more. Get another row of teeth so he can eat twice as fast. He's gonna eat so good. He's gonna eat so hard. You potentially have TMJ. Ooh, yeah. At some point, I will eventually, maybe one day, probably, get my wisdom teeth out. Not the biggest deal. A lot of people do that, but I dread it. I dread it greatly. I don't want to do it. I don't want to deal with it. But I also do because I want to deal with it before it becomes an issue. And I feel like at some point, there'll be an issue. I keep getting told, like, you don't need to worry about them. You don't have to. But I've seen the x-rays. I've seen the x-rays. I feel like doing it earlier is better before it becomes an issue. I don't know. They hurt you yet? No. No. They're not impacting. They're just close to everything, and I feel like they just will. They just will. So I think I should just take them all out. I should take them all out. I'm kind of jealous, you know, my mother. My mother had all of her wisdom teeth grow in very normally. They all erupted out of the gums instead of staying buried. Straight right behind her last molar. Perfectly. And she just has her wisdom teeth in her mouth normally and uses them as real teeth. What the fuck? That's bullshit, right? Isn't that bullshit? That's crazy. Well, what they did have to do something. They pulled something else. They did her premolars. They took that little molar right behind your canines. They took those out because they're less necessary, and then all of her molars were able to just shift forward a little bit. That's something that they used to do. I don't know if they still do that anymore, but they did that. So she still has her wisdom teeth. That's crazy. Because they were like, if you keep everything, you're going to have like a lot of crowding. You're going to have a lot of issues, you know. Might not be good for you. So they pulled something small instead of like the big molar. Yeah, she ain't normal. She ain't normal. I'm jealous. A couple of you saying you have yours. How? How? Everyone else just like, they just come in all fucked up. You put off for years when you actually had to get it. Honestly, wasn't that bad. You barely needed pain meds. It's different for everyone though. Yeah, it depends on like if the roots are long, the shape, are they close to the surface or are they like really deep? Because they just kind of are sort of free floating for a lot of people. They're not always like embedded in your jaw the same way. So, you got sepsis for yours? Ooh. Ooh, that could kill you. If you go septic, that could kill you. Yikes. Because that's when it's like, you know, your bloodstream's affected. That could take you out if that's not like immediately handled. Some people get them pulled when they don't actually need it as well. Yeah, I think a lot of the time they do it for cosmetic reasons. Like if you start getting crowding, your teeth don't want to stay straight because there's just no room because your wisdom teeth start to push on them. Sometimes they'll take them out because then they can like make the room for them to then do like braces or whatever, you know, which is fine, I guess. But I think it's still good if your bite's affected enough that it's like affecting your jaw and how things are going, you know. Probably should do that. You're about to get yours removed. You're in your 30s and scared that it'll be a tough recovery. Yeah, but the things that could happen if things go wrong could be really bad. Could be really, really bad. If you have one stay in there, it impacts, it hits something, you get an abscess, you get a little infection up there, you go septic, you could just die. You could just die. And it's not like it's very likely that it'll happen, but it can happen really easily and it can happen really suddenly. You'll just get like a minor toothache and then next day you could be septic and you just don't know what's happening under there. You know, some people get major pain from things like this and they know something's wrong. They go get it treated. Some people have no clue, really. Next thing they know, they're just shivering and throwing up and they're like, oh my God, and they need to be rushed to the hospital. So, you know, it's not like you do it because you think like it's definitely going to happen to you, but if it does happen, it's so quick that it can take you out. So, you know, if you can get them removed and if a dentist's like, yeah, you should probably do it, just do it. Just do it. You were 16 when you got yours removed. They gave you Valium and you watched Flash Gordon afterwards. Yeah. I said, is wisdom tooth removal just a modern age issue? Like, did Neolithic people have problems with wisdom teeth? I think people always had issues. I know, like, old dentistry, they would just yank teeth out all the time for every reason. So I assume if you just yank a tooth out, you would make room for that to maybe move forward and it would not impact a thing because it would push into it and then that other tooth would just push forward because you're probably missing a tooth. I think most people were missing teeth in some way, shape, or form by the time that was an issue. But also, a lot of people died from a lot of things. And people always be like, oh, people didn't live as long. It wasn't that their lifespan potential was shorter. It was like that a lot of people died at birth. A lot of people died as kids from normal illnesses. And a lot of people died, yeah, like in their 40s because of a tooth issue and then they go septic. So, like, you know, I think it just killed people. That was all. Right? Got 4 removed in one sitting as an adult with only local anesthetic. You were cooked for a day, but it faded real fast. Yeah, I wanna get mine taken out at some point. I really do. I do. Do you have tips for being more of a conversationalist like you? Talk more. Practice. I don't know. It's hard for me to give really good advice because I've always talked I have a family that has a lot of conversations all the time. Everyone loves talking. And I think I get a lot of the way I speak from both of my parents. Both can talk a lot. Both could sit there and just talk for hours. So it's hard for me to be like, oh, this is how you train it up, because I just always did that. I actually, like, in person, in real life, can really not talk a lot, especially if I'm in a group setting. I just don't say shit. And I have friends that are like, she doesn't say much, which I know seems crazy. From your guys' perspective, at least. But I've also practiced talking a lot because I would hang out with family a lot and talk. So you just get used to it. Did any of your brothers have to work at talking skills? Oh, yeah. I think I'm the best conversationalist out of all of my siblings. One of my brothers, I just talked to him the other day. I just called him. And I realized that I hate the way he talks sometimes. I can't stand it. I love talking to him in general, but sometimes I cannot stand it because he talks. He says a thing. I say a thing. And he goes, yeah, because, and he repeats it back. He's displaying to me that he understands, but he does it excessively and talks over me a little bit when he does it. So if he's like, should I play Risk of Rain again, just go back, or should I play Risk of Rain Returns, the remake of the first one? And I'll be like, you know, I liked Returns, but I just think some of the difficulty was adjusted in ways that was a little bit unfunny. Be like, yeah, because, you know, if it's a little unfun and like whatever, then I could just go back and play the first one. And I'm like, yeah, this is what I was about to say. He'll say the thing I was about to say because we're siblings and we mind read each other, but he'll like start saying it before I'm finished talking. And then sometimes he'll just reiterate what I just said. And I'm like, am I going crazy here? Like what? And you know, yeah, the sibling telepathy is really strong with me and him. But like, it drives me nuts because I don't do that to him. I don't do that to him at all. And he just takes up more of the airspace, you know, like he fills so much more of the space with his words. And I'm like, brother, you gotta talk less. You gotta talk less. Well, if you started doing it, I do it on purpose sometimes at him when he's doing it. And then he goes, oops. And he realizes. It's active listening. I think he does it a lot more nowadays because of what his work is, and he's explaining things to people, and he has to overly explain. And when they explain something to him, he has to say it back to confirm if what they said is like what they meant, you know? And I think he just has done it so much in recent years that like he can't stop doing it now to like me and like the rest of the family. I don't know. That's a conversation strategy. Say what you know they're going to say preemptively. Yeah, but the thing is, when he employs it on me, it pisses me off. Because he doesn't need to do that to me, you know? And he knows that. He knows that. Telepathy makes it worse because it makes you better at interrupting each other. He and I, this brother in particular, we say the same thing at each other at the same time all the time. All the time. All the time. Constantly. But he's a person who is really unsure of himself sometimes. So I think a lot of him repeating a thing, like I say a thing and then he repeats it back. He goes, yeah, so it's like something, blah, 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 because then you blah, blah, blah. It's him saying it out loud to confirm because he's always like not sure. Like, did I hear that right? Do I have it right? Like he has to double check. So when I know it's that, it doesn't bother me nearly as much because I'm like, he's just confirming, like it's whatever. Yeah, it's not a big deal. But when he's saying some shit just to say some shit, man, You like to complete people's sentences with the wrong thing, fastest possible way to piss someone off. Yes, the constant misunderstanding before they get to finish their sentence is the worst. The worst. I don't know. I think he's one of the hardest to talk to from my perspective, even though I enjoy talking to him so much when I'm explaining a thing to him. But if I'm not explaining anything to him, like if he didn't ask me a question and I'm not explaining, we have no issues. Does he have ADHD? No. No. Not at all. It is not related to any of that. It is just him making sure. It's just him making sure. He works with a lot of people that like don't know what they want and say things to him constantly that aren't exactly what they mean. Like it sounds right in their head, and then when they say it's not quite right, the right instruction or whatever. So he'll always say and repeat things back to make sure that it's correct. You know? So he's just trained himself up for it at this point. It is what it is, man. Which is I went back to check the athal situation. His short lingual membrane pulled the gums off his lower front teeth and they got severely infected. Surgeons had to scrape away a lot of the tissue and rebuild the gums, still in pain over a year after the first surgery. Oh, okay. Okay, that makes sense. That's why it's like so much they have to do. Ugh. Ugh. That sounds so painful. Man. That sounds like a nightmare. Sounds like a fucking nightmare, dude. Ow. Ow. I'm just thinking about it. Oh, his weenor. Yeah, pray for it, man. Hope he gets better. I wonder how long his recovery will take, and is it like multiple surgeries in a row? It's probably multiple procedures. Or maybe all at once. I don't know. It's got to be a lot of work to rectify all that. Yeah, wishing him the best. Gums will take about 3 weeks. Oof, okay. Not the worst, but it's still rough. I don't know, for me, I've been through difficult and complex surgical shit. It's really tough. Even like healing a small incision is really tough when you have to go through muscle layer and stuff like that. It is, and when things need to sit there and rebuild, things need to sit there and heal, and like you can't move them. It's really difficult to get through that. But it will happen, and that's how you get through it. It's just you have the knowledge that it will end. You will get better, you know? Core muscles, yeah, I had to have my core muscles cut through, man. I do not wish it upon anyone. And most surgeries you get in like the abdominal area or core muscles or anything, you just have like one incision, maybe two. And they're usually like on the same side. But when you have a lot of incisions all over, like all in these different areas, I don't wish it upon anybody. I really don't, man. Watch a sponsor stream he did a while back. He was in so much pain during it. He had to go silent eventually. Oh. Yeah. I'm glad he's getting it done then if it was at that point. Oof. Man. Knee surgery. At least with like leg stuff, you can just throw yourself in a wheelchair or with a walker or a crutch or whatever you've got, and you can just not use it as much as possible. I can't tell you how hard it is to recover from a surgery where you can't use your abdomen. Imagine just trying to sit on a toilet and then get up. To get down onto it and to get up. Fucking impossible. Yeah, you use your core for everything. Imagine your entire front of your body you can't use, or you will be in searing pain, even with medication. How you not use your abdomen, does that include breathing? Yes, it hurt for me to breathe. I would try to like chest breathe and move my rib cage as much as possible, so as not to let my abdomen move by having my diaphragm go down. It was like, you just shit your pants. Yeah, that uses your abdomen, exactly. It was yikes, dude. I had up, down, left, right, like all heights and like XY axis everywhere. I had an incision somewhere on like every chunk of muscle, so I just couldn't do it, man. Someone get the walker. Yeah. Yeah, I had physical assistance for a long while. You feel 100% or still on some days? Still when I like stretch around, like if I lean back, so you got like a you ever use a foam roller and you like put something on your back and then you roll on it like that, where like you're basically extending your abdomen as far as you can, stretching backwards. If I stretch in like that direction, I feel like areas of muscle that have a bunch of scar tissue, and I could feel it pulling weirdly. Like the, muscle fibers stretch, scar tissue really doesn't. So because I have like this internal scar tissue in my abdomen, when I like lean back, I can feel it like it feels like I'm like, ooh, I should do this slowly a little bit, right? I have that. So that isn't great, but it's just a weird feeling. It's not like an actual problem for me. It's just a feeling that I don't think I'll get over, because it's like weird, and it's not symmetrical either. The incisions were in whatever spots they had to be in, so it's just kind of like weird. It's just weird. I would say the scarring on the surface is a lot smaller than the internal stuff, which is good. So like at least visually, it's not bad. Numbness and weird pain. Yeah. Like if I touch those spots, like you have your surface, like if you touch your stomach right now, you can feel obviously on your skin, your finger touching your skin. And then below that, you feel some pressure in like the muscle area. Where the incisions were, the muscle area there, like I have like no feeling underneath for that stuff. My nerve endings in those spots like they're not back. They're not back. But that's okay. I don't really need them because it's not like one giant area where I have no nerve endings and I can't feel if there's a problem there. It's like these little spots. So there's that. I just need to get strength back very slowly. I just need to get more strength back, and I need to eat more. That's all. I'm just chilling. I'm just hoping it doesn't come back. That's the stage I'm at, right? It's like everything else is pretty much fine now. You just like keep testing to make sure it doesn't. And that's it. But like as far as like me being physically able to do stuff, I'm still very slowly doing things, but I'm not like dying, which is great. You know? It is what it is. It is what it is. She can't lose the other ball. Oh, yeah, I would hate to have to take it out. I would hate to lose the other one, because then, like, I'd have to start going on supplements. I'd have to start taking certain things, because you need both of them or one of them to be able to produce enough of certain hormones, things to process certain vitamins, because those hormones are being, locally produced, whatever, blah, blah, blah. If I had the other one taken out, I would have to take a lot of supplements to make sure that I didn't, like, develop osteoporosis early and shit like that. But it would still happen. I'd just be keeping it at bay. So, really, really, really hoping that I don't have to do that. Isn't it like instant menopause if they remove both? Yeah. It is. If they have to remove the other one, I would literally, boom, menopause instantly. like that's what happens. When you just have one, you get menopause on an average of 1 year earlier if you just have one ovary versus two, which is like nothing. It basically makes no difference. But yeah, if you have the second one removed, you go through like early menopause, and I don't want that. I do not want that, dude. No, thank you. Your mom had to get a hysterectomy and insta-menopaused. Kind of crazy how little the difference is. Yeah, the ability for one ovary to produce, like to overproduce a lot of hormone is really high. Like they're capable of doing that. And all it does is it detects what's in your bloodstream, what it detects locally, sees there's not enough, releases more. So one can do the job of two pretty easily. So it's really not bad to have one, but having none, that can cause a lot of issues. It would. Did you still make the joke to the doctor about removing the other one? I did talk to them, because I was like, man, not having a period ever sounds really good. and the doctor was like, here are the other issues you would get, though. And I was like, okay, never mind. I was like, leave it in. He was like really adamant about it. He was like, you just shouldn't remove anything you don't have to, because trust and believe, like, these other issues show up with like everybody. So I was like, okay, you don't gotta convince me. No thanks. You think you're actually talking about balls for the bit? We call it my one ball, but I had one ovary removed, so now I have just one. But it does the job, so it's fine. One ball havers should get at least periods less often as a silver lining. Oh, I wish it still. So your ovaries alternate when you have two. Like the right one releases an egg 1 month, and then the left one the next month. They usually alternate. I would love if you had one, and then you got a period every like 60 days instead of every 30 ish. Oh, I wish, but no, not possible, not possible. So that shit still happens, unfortunately. They let you keep it. So what they removed wasn't like a little ovary. I had a huge cancerous mass that it had turned into, and they had to cube very finely all of it so they could test every single square like millimeter of it to check how far along it was and stage it. So no, I didn't get to keep it because they couldn't keep it whole like that. I wanted that, but yeah, that shit was a slushy. Meat blob, right? They had to do it. So it was like a 20 pounds. Yeah, I don't remember how much it weighed. It was huge though. It was huge. It was the big mass plus a cyst around it, so a lot of liquid to test as well and all this shit. But I wish I could have kept it, man. I wish. Could have been so cool. I would have had a little jar for it with like formaldehyde and written like its name on the front or something, and kept him on the mantle or whatever. But no. Oh well. Oh well. If I ever have to have anything removed in the future, hopefully not. If I do, I wanna keep it. Did you at least see it? No, I was knocked the fuck out. I did see some stuff later, but I never got to see a picture of like the whole thing because they didn't take it out whole. They took it out in pieces so that they didn't have to do one like ultra large incision because they were gonna take it out whole. With how big it was sitting right on top of my bladder. So look down, look at where like your pubic bone ends at the top. It was like starting down there and then going all the way up to a bit like well above my belly button, like pushing up toward my into my diaphragm basically. It was that tall. So if they wanted to open me up to be able to take it out whole, they would have had to cut my entire body open. They would have had to start all the way down at the bone, just where the bladder is, and go all the way up through the belly button and up several inches from there. Yeah, like a C-section. So they were trying to avoid that. Yeah, hot dog style. Exactly. Yeah, it was huge. So we tried really hard to avoid that. So instead, we did a lot of incisions in a lot of different places. And then one of the incisions was through my belly button. And that's where they were able to open the widest. And I have a whole video on it, but basically they put a surgical bag, like a plastic bag, in there. They removed all the adhesions and everything, and they separated it from anything it was attached to first, and then put a bag in there and put the bag around it. And the end of the bag, the open part, was sticking out of the belly button incision. So inside, there was nowhere that it was touching anything anymore. It was 100% separated from my body while still in me, from with that bag. And then they took it apart in there and took it out piece by piece out of my belly button area. That was how they did it, which is kind of gross, but it was a way for them to not have to do one huge incision. The fluid wasn't an issue anymore. Yeah. They were able to basically like vacuum out the fluid first and then piece it out. So it was a long surgery. It took a lot of time because they had to do that very finely, but they were able to do that so that they didn't have to do one giant cut, which could have been bad. Wasn't a teratoma. No, teratomas are non-cancerous typically, and it wasn't a teratoma. It was I want to say complex mucinous cystadenoma plus another whatever they classify just the mass as. It was a lot. It was a lot because it was a cyst plus that thing. But yeah, it was a cool procedure though. Oof, your mom had a huge tumor, not cancerous though, something like 10 to 12 pounds of mass. Got lucky it didn't. Yeah, that it wasn't like something else. Yeah. It's rough. It was rough. That's basically what I had, but mine was bigger. Mine was bigger, but still, yeah. A lot of cysts, guys, like, I know mine was like a cancer-related story. A lot of people do get benign, non-cancerous masses and cysts. A lot of women get them from a normal ovarian cyst, and they can get huge, and you don't know. You don't feel it. You truly do not. Like, you don't feel anything in your organs. You don't have that fine tuned feeling. So when something grows super, super slowly, you don't notice. And a lot of people don't know that they have them until it's big enough to start pushing out. Because, like, everything inside your muscle wall, everything inside your abdomen is really soft. So when something grows, it just pushes all the soft organs out of the way and grows. And then after it's big enough and it's pushed enough of the organs out of the way that there's no room, then it starts having enough pressure in there that it pushes out and makes your abdomen stick out, because now it's strong enough, basically, and there's enough pressure for it to push your muscle wall out a little. And then that's when you notice it. But by that time, again, it's big enough that it moved everything that's soft out of the way first. So you get tested and you're like, holy shit, I have a huge ass thing in me. Like, holy shit, you know? And you just don't know. Most people just don't find out. And that's what I kept asking the doctor. I was like, how would I have noticed this earlier? Like, how did I not? And they're like, trust and believe that, like, no one notices these. No one notices them ever. So I was like, oh, okay. Your sister's been dealing with benign breast cysts. Guess they're super painful. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It can be rough, man. When did you catch it? I would have no idea. We know, looking back, I had some symptoms that I later was like, oh, it was definitely from that. It at least started... I had it developing at least 5 years prior to my surgery. Because I have some symptoms that I had around that time that were really weird and could only be traced to that by the time we figured out that that's what I had. But it likely started being compromised and doing stuff earlier. But it was at least a 5-year thing minimum, which is why you don't notice it, because it's like so slow that it grows. Like, when a woman is pregnant, she notices her belly sticking out really fast, because, like, it only takes like a month or two, and, like, things move and change, and there's so much going on inside, and then she's just like, oh my god, there's a thing, you know? So the change is changing so rapidly, you notice it. But when it's like a cyst and it takes years to grow, you don't notice that shit. It's so gradual, you know? Ooh, your mom's was so big it pressed into her lungs. Yeah. That's mine. Mine was doing the same, where it basically pushed everything out of the way. It was pushing on every organ. I couldn't breathe. My diaphragm couldn't move down at all. So it was pushing up. I had heart issues, which is part of what made a lot of my ability to recover physically afterward hard. Like, they were like, yeah, don't immediately go to the gym and start, like, running. Do walks and light jogs maybe, and take it easy, because your heart is just, like, it's just been pressed on for so long. It needs to, like, get used to the muscle moving a certain way again. And I was like, oh, so I can't just, like, go running. And they're like, no, absolutely not. So, you know, everything just being pressed on. They call it mass effect, right? When you have, like, a symptom caused because a mass is just pushing on something. I had a lot of side effects just from that, from mass effect, basically. And that's all they can really diagnose a lot of it as. So something like a kidney getting pressed on, your kidney might function differently, but it might, like, you might have certain tissues in your body produce, like, hormones in weird amounts or at the wrong time because it's being physically pressed on. Stuff like that, like, really, really weird symptoms that you're like, why is this happening, when you see the physical manifestation of it on the outside, or the whatever symptom you can notice from your perspective without them scanning you. You'll notice these little symptoms and you'll be like, I don't know what this is, but it's because an organ was being, like, pressed on physically or something like that. So, yeah, it's rough. It's rough, man. How long does it take for your organs to reposition / settle after surgery? I don't know, because you kind of can't tell. But I think function of certain things felt normal within the first month, mostly. Like, at the end of the first month, I felt like breathing felt okay. Stomach function, like, things felt like they were placed normally, at least. But I mean, you can't really, like, feel to that extent internally. But I want to say within the first month, by the end of it, I was feeling, like, all right-ish. But There was, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if I would be able to really tell. Could have taken longer. I don't know. All I know is now things are okay, at least. Sounds real dark. People don't think how nice breathing easy is until they can't. Yeah. Yeah, it's I think that was the hardest part of, especially pre-surgery. Um, not being able to sit up very easily. I kind of lost mobility, so not being able to like move around without like hobbling around and shuffling a little bit, because I would feel all this pressure in my stomach and in my abdomen, and I was told to not move too quickly, don't pick my leg up in front of me too hard and like put pressure on it, because if it burst, if it ruptured and it had cancer in it, which at the time we weren't sure, but we were pretty certain based off the scans, they were like, if this is what, what we think we're diagnosing it as, then if you expose that, it ruptures and that liquid gets out, and you expose the cells to the rest of your body, you've just spread it everywhere, and this will be so hard to recover from, you likely won't make it. Even in the state I was in without it rupturing, they were like, you're not looking good. So I was so afraid of rupturing it, so when I would move around, I would like, stepping one foot in front of the other, I'd have to be careful, don't pick up your leg too high, because now you're putting pressure on it, like stuff like that. And not just that, but it hurt to do it, but so it's very awkward trying to like exist with all this shit. It was real awkward, man. So it was hard, because I also, if I took a breath, if like you bang your toe, you go and you breathe in, you gasp, you breathe in kind of hard. There were moments where I like bang my elbow, do a little thing, and I breathe in, and that little breathe in, I'd feel my diaphragm push down, and then immediately I'd be like, and I'd gasp again, but now I'm moving my rib cage out to make sure that I don't put pressure downward with my diaphragm onto the mass and stuff. Like, it was just walking on eggshells the whole time, man. The whole time, making sure that I was like not doing anything. And I was trying to not be a hypochondriac about it. The doctors were like, "Oh, you're not. Trust, trust." Yeah, a lot of manual breathing. Mostly manually breathing the whole time. The whole time. It was really weird, but really nice to go back to not having to think about breathing. It was really nice. And that was a big part of why I liked streaming so much, because it took my mind off of it. Because if I'm sitting there watching a video and just hanging out and I'm manually breathing the whole time, you just think, it's at the forefront of your mind. You think about it. So being able to stream, I would stream really long hours and everything and hang out, because at least my brain was on other things too. And it's not like I wasn't thinking about that at all. I mean, I was still manually breathing, but like there was something else to fill my mind too. So it was nice to have that. I don't know. Did you ever fall over in a scary way? Oh, absolutely. Absolutely, yeah. Yeah. How quickly did it grow? Quickly. I mean, really, really gradually, but it grew exponentially. The type of cyst that it was a mucinous cyst. So kind of like the cells on the inside of your intestinal lining, which are constantly excreting mucus so that material can move through easily. It's like a lubricant, right? So it's kind of the same cell type, which a lot of cysts are. So they're constantly excreting liquid into the cyst and filling it more and more, along with the physical mass that I had growing constantly. It was growing exponentially. So these two things are growing exponentially. As the cyst grows, it stretches a little bit, more cells are made to fill in those little shreds and tears as they are, and then all of those additional cells also produce more. So yeah, everything was just exponentially growing. So it was this super long, many years process to go from small to medium, and then from medium to large was like rapid. So by the time I noticed it, it only took a few months, and yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot. It was quick. So it was both slow and fast growing, as well as it was fast growing in like the late stages. But hey, we got it out, man. You're eating Jello right now? Oof. Oof. I don't know, man. It was gross. All in all, it was gross. 0 out of 10. Wouldn't recommend. Wouldn't do again. Hopefully not gonna do again. We'll see. But also I keep on top of everything, so if like other stuff becomes compromised, at least because I'm getting a lot of tests, I won't find out after it's like huge. I would find out a lot earlier, so there's that. And a lot of places will reject you if you're like, I want to get an MRI just cause. They'll be like, you don't have any issues. A doctor didn't order this. So it's like really hard to get these things done. But because I've had this history, I can just set up appointments to just get this shit whenever. And they'll just look at my history and go, oh, yeah, we'll slot you right in ahead of other people, you know, even like when earliest slot you can have it. So I just get regular tests for shit, you know. I do blood tests and scans and things, and you know, no MRI for fun. I mean, you still can, but if you don't have you know, some sort of issue or reason why a doctor's ordering it, then you get put at the back of the line. And some places just won't do it because they're full up all the time. But you know, so I just get to get stuff like that, which is nice, thankfully. Although, you know what's another 0 out of 10 experience? I don't want to get an MRI with contrast ever again if I can afford it. Ever again. The feeling, it's a syringe of liquid that they have to put in you, and it's like a water bottle, the amount of shit they got to put in you. It's so much. It's so much. And it's just this huge syringe, and it's, yeah, you taste metal, and it's cold when they put it in you. I hate that feeling. Oh my god. Oh my god. I hated that so much. And you're laying, so you go in and you do the MRI, you do a full scan, and then they put that liquid in you, and then they do another full scan, right? Because they have to compare these two scans, the one with and without. So so you know, you just laid there not moving, and you're like anxious, and you're like, oh my god, I just want to move, and they're like, don't wiggle anything. And then they inject you with this cold liquid, and they just, oh, and you feel it going through your entire body, and the taste is weird. Everything feels wrong. You feel a lot of pressure because it's a lot of liquid they're adding to you. And then you're just still laying there, and they're like, okay, now don't move. I hate that, man. Oh, that's like I wouldn't say 0 out of 10 experience compared to, you know, getting cancer and getting a mass removed, but I'd say that's a 2 out of 10. It's still pretty low. Still pretty low. It's bad because you feel like you're peeing yourself on the table. Yeah, you get this sensation. You really feel like you're pissing yourself out of like nowhere. And you're not, but you feel weird. You feel real weird. So I didn't like that. I didn't like that at all. What's like a 3 out of 10? Maybe like a 4 out of 10, but getting my blood drawn every time I have to get my lab work because they have to take so many vials, and I'm a small person and I don't have a lot of blood volume. So they take 8 vials from me every time, and it's like they chopped my arm off. Like I walk out of that place like, you know, and I have to like lay down for so long. And it's like, and you know, no matter like how much blood you lose, 6 to 12 hours, your bone marrow starts going, you get those red blood cells back. Like, they come back by the next day, you're okay. But like, until they're done, I don't know. They give you a juice box? No, I have to bring my own shit. I have to bring my own shit. But that's not a good experience. Just getting blood drawn isn't the worst, but when you have to get that much taken out, you sure your doctor isn't a vampire? Hopefully not. Hopefully not. Yeah, 8 vials is crazy, but they have to do a separate vial for all the different tests. Would it be easier to do 4 vials twice as often? I would rather not have to go back that often. And then you're paying for all these different visits, so I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. The lab work is also way cheaper when you do all the tests at once. So, you know. Working in medical research, seeing how many vials some people need to get drawn once is crazy. There's some people who get like up to 20. There's some crazy shit. And I think 8 is a lot. To test for cancer, it's like a lot of different tests. They have to test for the presence of fucking everything. Everything. You still have to go there. I have to get tests and be really diligent about this stuff pretty often for 5 years after my surgery. You're not considered cleared until you haven't had any signs of anything for 5 years. And then even then, some people, they do longer. For me, they'll probably do longer because the rate of people getting this coming back is a bit higher. The type of cancer I had was a really aggressive, really fast one. And when people get it on one side, there's a good chance that people do get it on the other side as well. So, you know, we're gonna stay vigilant and probably keep on it a bit longer, probably more than 5 years. So, yeah, just to be safe. Because like, if you catch it early, it doesn't have to be a problem because it's something that you can just take out. It's in a spot you can just access. You know, like it's very different from being like in your brain, in your skull. You know, it's bad, but not the worst. But it moves so quickly. It moves so aggressively in a lot of people. So if you don't catch it and you wait until you have symptoms, like I really lucked out. I really lucked out with some of the quirks of the way mine had grown, but my mass went from tiny to huge very quickly. And if it had not had a cyst around it, if it had a normal blood supply, it just the way the veins, the way the arteries grew toward it were just a little off, that it didn't have the best blood supply. If they had just decided to grow slightly differently, it would have just been in my bloodstream. I would have been cooked. Boom, done, you know? So yeah, it's really fast moving. So it's like one of those things where you have to get stuff tested pretty often just to be safe, you know? Also getting a genetic background check. Um, they don't do that. They just ask for family history, really. And I did have someone in my family, maternal side, that did have breast cancer, and they are comorbid. It's kind of the same genes, like to get one or the other. So, yeah, they were like, if anyone on your maternal side has gotten breast cancer, ovarian cancer, anything in like the female reproductive system, they're kind of all linked. So yeah, I just am predisposed, which makes sense because people who have ovarian cancer usually don't get it until a lot later in life. Until a lot later in life. And they were like, the group you're in, you're like, you're not in the category at all that we would ever think you would have this. So it makes more sense that I got it. Even so, still weird. Still weird. Yeah, people don't tend to get it all until later. Do brothers have to watch for it if they have daughters now? Um, Not as much because it tends to be maternal side. If they're like, they should still think about it, but if one of them married someone and that woman, or if they just had a kid with someone and that woman, her family's predisposed, that would be a problem. So like I would likely pass those genes down because it's located on the X chromosome, I believe. There's like a thing about it where it's just maternal side. So I think only I would have to be worried, and then my brothers wouldn't really have to as much. So there is that, which is good. Which is good because I don't really want kids. I don't know how many of them want kids, but I would like them to not have to worry about that. That would be nice, you know? That would be great. That would be good. They be carriers because they get their X chromosome. No. It's something about having two that is related to it. Something about having two that is related specifically, which is why it's maternal side. Break out the Punnett square. Punnett squares are such a lie. They're so true, but lies at the same time. Because most genetics don't work on a square. They're not, you know, they're more dynamic than that. But they're a good representation to teach it, like how it works at least, generally. Having kids is too expensive, yet they're now begging us to have kids. I know. Who's having them? I know, man. It's crazy. No one can afford that shit, dude. No thanks. No thanks. It's one of my friends was like talking about how much her kid's in like a, not a preschool, but like a program slightly before this because she and her husband both work. And they were talking about how much money it costs just to put this kid in there all day, just to like hang around and play. They don't even teach them that much because it's, again, not a preschool. It's not quite a daycare, it's something in between. And kind of Head Start, but not as school-ish. Very similar. It is so expensive. So expensive. No. It's a no from me. Like, it's crazy. It'd be different if I were going full traditional wife, okay? And I didn't work. I had nothing to do. It'd be all right. But like, no, I want to work. And I'm not really looking to be wife either. So like, you know what I mean? You want to be a trad wife so bad? I would like a trad wife, but I'm straight. So like, but I don't want to say a trad husband. I want a male wife. I would take that. If I could be like, hey, I'm streaming. Hey, let's pay attention. I snap my fingers at him. Dinner on the table when I'm done streaming. When am I done? When I feel like it. Okay, watch the stream and start cooking. You are to be seen, not heard. You know, like I would love that. I would love that, man. Need me one of those. And then if they come in my office while I'm streaming, I'll be like, I'm working, you know, and they have to leave. Ugh, that'd be wonderful. Isn't that the dream? I kind of get why, like, the male fantasy is like the traditional wife for a lot of dudes. I get it. Yeah, and they clean. Yep. You get Google Docu'd so fast. No. Because they know what they're signing up for because I'm an honest person. I wouldn't do the, oh, anything for you, baby girl thing and then turn on them after marriage. I would just, like, tell them, hey, this is what you're signing up for, by the way. You know? It's just how it is. Oh, everything would be so clean all the time. Yeah. It's pretty good. Pretty good. I would take it. But I just don't like people being around me. So that's part of the problem. so I think I would just have a live-in servant because I'd be like, you get your own room and you talk to me sometimes and you cook my food. I want to eat alone. And I think I just need a butler. I think I need my own personal butler. Boris does that for the whole community, not just me, so. Yeah, I think I need a house elf. Yeah. Yeah. Robots. If the robo butler thing becomes real, I would get one. I don't have confidence. Every time I see a company and they're like, this company's trying out their new robo butler, it's always like, it looks like it's 1 second away from teetering over and exploding. And I'm really rooting for the tech, okay? I'm really rooting for the tech. But I don't think we're anywhere near. And then when they come out, they're going to be like $500,000. They're going to cost a lot, and they're going to have a subscription, 100%. So, you'd be worried about it murdering you? No, they have to keep people alive so they can keep making money. So I think it'd be fine. I think they wouldn't murder you. They'd just drain your wallet, you know? You see the bed subscription thing? Oh my god! Oh my god! The bed subscription is crazy. I saw a tweet about it that was so funny. Someone was like, I'm trying to sleep, but I can't because my subscription isn't activated right now, so my bed won't turn on with the thing. But I can't access it because, yeah, unplug it, dude. Throw a magnet at it. Yeah, I know. Everyone's like, oh no, my robot overlords, but just get some really strong magnets and throw them. You're gonna be okay. Yeah, but bed subscription's real. Let me see if I can find the tweet. Hold on. I don't know if I can find it because it was just a tweet I happened upon. Oh, yeah, here. Oh, it was Theo. Woke up because my AI-controlled bed is too cold. Went to adjust temperature and I can't because the 8 Sleep app is currently broken. Can't adjust by hand because I have a Pod 3, not the upgraded Pod 4 with physical controls. Now I'm stuck in a cold bed. This feels dystopian. The upgraded Pod 4 with the manual controls, dude. I love that tweet so much because it's real. It's real. My AI-controlled bed. Oh my god. It doesn't work if it's not connected to the internet. It's like the dishwasher. It's like Dishy. Don't you want the ultimate dishwashing experience? Ugh. I don't know, man. Just I don't want smart anythings in my home. I don't. BMW had a heated seats subscription. Okay, whatever happened to, like, if you want something, you buy it? I think subscription models make so much sense for certain things, but they're starting to apply it to shit that you don't need. Okay? If they're constantly patching and updating something, they're constantly workers who are working on something all the time, and they want you to pay for a subscription for that. I understand it because you are actively paying these people to keep doing shit. Okay. But when you just get a thing, like heated seats, they're not patching my heated seats, right? Like, what? Why would I subscribe to that? Like, what's going on? All right? Think of the poor shareholders. Oh, man. I don't know. Ooh, toilet subscription. Yes, yes. That's what I'm talking about. Next thing you know, streamers are going to ask you to subscribe. Jesus Christ, am I right? What the fuck are they patching, huh? Nothing. Fucking nothing. You should just pay once for all their emotes and never pay them again. They should just work forever for free. That's the thing, right? That's what a subscription is for. Like, I'm paying for a thing because someone is still actively doing a thing the whole time. So that's why I'm like, yeah, if you have a digital product and they're constantly updating it, and it needs to be constantly updated too, then yeah, okay. But like, my heated seats in the Beamer, I don't know about that. All they do is sit on their ass and talk all day, damn freeloaders. Yeah, grr. Grr. Hey, man. If there's a market for something, there's a market for it. If people are paying for it, they're paying for it. The thing is, you know what a Twitch streamer does? They stream, and you can sub if you feel like it. And there is nobody holding a gun to your head. There is nobody locking you out of their content because you're not subbed. Nothing. You can get it all for free. You watch a couple ads that aren't that long. That's it. All you get are 3 minutes of ad per hour for most streamers. Some people turn it up, but not me. 3 minutes of ads per hour, maximum. And you can get everything for free in perpetuity. Great. Do other subscriptions in life really offer you that? No, they lock you out of shit entirely. You can't. There's no paid option. There's no free with ads option for a lot of things anymore. And like, that's what it bothers me, is when there's no way to just buy an older version outright. Like, old Adobe used to be able to, when they were transitioning to the subscription model, you could sub to Adobe and you could like get all the patches, or you could outright buy a version of Photoshop. And you just had that version, and you just didn't get updates, right? They had like both pricing models available while they were moving to it, and then they just got rid of it. They were like, you can't buy like Premiere 16 and be okay with that and be like, I'm good with just 16. You have to do it. Bren! Thank you for the 20 gifted. Huge. Thank you, Ren. I appreciate it. Thank you. Clip Studio was kind of on that 2 model thing. I think that's a lot better. I really like the dual option, buy it outright or sub. Because some people just don't need those new features. And if they do, they might buy the newer version or swap to subscriptions or whatever, you know? But, you know, arguably you probably make less money doing that, so that's why everyone's like, no, sub only. But I get it from the business perspective. I just think it's kind of shitty. Right? It's just shitty. Yeah, it feels a bit predatory. Because realistically, like, if someone's paying for Adobe 16 and they just want to use that, they're paying for one product. They're not paying for the people's work that they're doing it after it. Those people aren't working for that person for free. It's okay to just let them buy it, you know? And then the subscriptions are to pay your workers who are working on this product in perpetuity for those who need those features. All right. But I don't know. I don't know, man. Adobe's also just expensive as fuck. It's so expensive now. It's crazy. Last 2 years of Photoshop updates have all been AI shit. Yeah, like what I'm sure they've released some new tools that have actually been good, but like what have they actually released? I'm sure they've improved some stuff that isn't just like AI features, but I don't hear about it. I only hear about like AI features. It's all they push in the marketing anyway. So I don't know. Yeah, and shitification everywhere. What the fuck is this like playlist? This playlist is getting so weird. They did not. It's crashing more than ever. Man. I still have Premiere and Photoshop for myself because as a streamer, like I need to be able to open shit sometimes. I don't need to use it super often, but I have to be able to, in a pinch, be able to open some things and be able to do some things. So I've still got them, and I'm like, man, at least I can write off my subscription. At least. I don't know. Adobe's so bloated now. I can't open Photoshop or Premiere on my computer unless I close like everything else. It takes more than me running a VTuber model plus a game plus OBS. It takes more than that. I have to close all of those things. I have to close most of my tabs to open it and have it not run like shit. It's so bloated. It's crazy. It's actually insane. What else is it doing to hog that much? Exist. That's without me having a file open and without me doing anything, without me rendering anything. I'm just trying to open it. It's crazy. I don't know, man. It's been like that forever. Mine's always been like that, but it's definitely gotten worse overall. And you handle slow OBS or YouTube Studio, try to record with someone else's model, it's crazy. Yeah, if you have a model file that's big, takes a lot of resources, it goes crazy. You cry. Have a better rig. You can, if you open VTube Studio as an exe outside of Steam, sometimes it does take less resource-wise. Depends on the model, but that can actually work. So I would try it, but it's usually not enough of a difference to make it like really good. It's just a little something. But I would try that. But it's using a lot of CPU resources, so you just need a better CPU. Which sucks because replacing one is shit. I hate doing it. I'm gonna burn my shit down and rebuild entirely. I'm gonna have a new computer entirely. I'm not going in here and being like, oh, I'm just gonna replace my CPU and my GPU, blah, blah. It's easy. It is physically easy. Yeah. It is physically easy, but I don't wanna. I'm doing everything. I'm doing everything. Look at CPUs. Prices cry again. Yeah, I'm dreading purchasing it. I'm really dreading like going through and getting the new computer. At least I don't have to purchase all new peripherals and all that. You know, that's cool. It's not a whole new everything, but you know, all the expensive stuff is in the tower, so whatever. I guess I'll do it. You really don't need a new GPU. For VTubing plus streaming plus gaming at the same time, yeah. I think I do. But the stuff with VTube Studios, it does a lot of calculations through the CPU first and then sends that information to the GPU. So it's using both. I'm just gonna do it. Oh, there's a fruit fly in here. Ooh, I knew I saw something. Now it flew away. Whenever you notice them, that's when they like become ungettable. It's mostly VRAM that you need. Yeah. Yep. You have a pet mantis in your room for fruit flies. That's so specific. Ooh. Are you going 4090 to 5090? I have a 3080 Ti. I have a 3080 Ti, which is why I'm not just gonna leave my GPU in the new computer. Um, I have to get a new one. So if I had a 4090, I probably wouldn't swap it out. I just leave it. But yeah, I gotta do it. I gotta do it. It's just at this point, it's not cutting it for a lot of games. I have to turn everything down on stream. I If I'm not streaming, the 3080 Ti is actually still really good for a lot of games. It's fine, and I can run a lot of shit on Ultra. But everything else that I'm doing at the same time and trying to stream it, it just can't render shit well without dying. It overloads. I just can't. 3080 was a workhorse. This thing's a beast for what it is. It's great. It's genuinely great. I actually love this GPU. It is done so well for me. Can you just overclock? My shit is pushed as far as it can be without having issues. I am not doing anything else to it. I'm not. But yeah, I'm picking shit out right now. I have a PC part picker list open that's like mostly filled out. I don't know. I'm still deciding. I'm looking at getting a 5090. It's just so hard for me to allow myself to pay that much. I think as a streamer, it's warranted because this is my livelihood and I should do this. But I feel like it doesn't do that much more than the cards before it. So there's part of me that's like, maybe I should just do the 4090. I don't know. Just say blazing. Like my 4090, feel no need for 5K. Benchmarks are marginal. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. What was that? Taka, thank you for the $10. Thank you for the $10. Yeah, the stuff I've been hearing about the 5090 is like it draws a fuck ton of power to exist slightly better. So I'm like really torn, and that's what's holding me back from just buying everything. Is I just can't decide if I want to just stick with the 4090 and wait for the next. So I don't know. 4090 can't get one new. Yeah, but I have a lot of connections to people that work at companies that build PCs, things like that, and they will help me source something if I need. Like genuinely, they're so nice to me. Like Ironside, I worked with a lot back in the day, helping them promote. I ran like a Mario Kart tournament, and we had them sponsor it, and I had a whole bunch of ads that I made with VTubers like popping up and doing cute things for transitions between scenes. Like we just did like little projects together, and we have a great relationship. So if I need one, I can just be like, do you guys have one I could buy off of you? You know? Like, so I'll be okay. I'll be okay in getting shit. So I could always tap them and be like, hey guys, you know. There are other companies too that have been really nice to me that I could tap. So in AI tasks, 59 is a significant upgrade, but was not a card for gaming. Yeah, that's the thing. I'm trying to think about my purposes, because just because a card is better, quote unquote, for like something's, in general, I feel like I don't know if I need it. And I think the only use case I can think of is maybe for 3D models. Because I do intend to bring 3D back. I want to. I'm in the process of trying to find the right person to make a newer 3D model that matches this one. And honestly, I might just go back and use the old 3D model here and there, just cause. I just felt a little weird because it doesn't match this, but I really like it, so so I might just do it. But that's the only consideration why I might need something like that. But I don't think those series of cards actually affected it that much. So I don't know. I think I might just do a 4090. I might just do it. Gonna get a custom case cover? Probably not. I was working on one with somebody, and then we ended up not moving forward with it. We were gonna do that, and it didn't happen. So I can just kind of do whatever I want at this point. I don't know. I'll probably just get a black case because my room, my office looks like it belongs in our male living spaces, okay? Black IKEA furniture. I have a cabinet that is like a steely gray metal slightly matte. There's a lot of glass. Everything is away. I don't have open storage because I hate dusting items that are not put away. I have some streamer shit sitting around. You walk in the room, you just see a desk and a bunch of peripherals all lined up. I have a rug. It's gray and black. Who would have thought? Curtains are also monochrome. I don't really have much in this room. I have a I have a desk, a chair, a rug, a cabinet that has, it's like a bookshelf. There's a lot of books and some merch shit on it. That's it. Oh, I have a tiny shelf to my left that has all my 3D stuff on it. Yeah, that's the room. Yeah, it's my man cave. It's my man cave, fully. That's it, man. Oh, and my lamp. Whenever I tell my Amazon Echo to turn on triple, I have my lamp. It's also like a gunmetal color. So everything in here is monochromatic, black, gray, and a little bit of white. Yep. My garbage can is a $10 IKEA one. Nucky, I see you. Okay, the only thing with color in this room is my cat. He's brown. Nucky. Nice try. Yeah, I've got a $10 black round IKEA garbage can. Because why do you need a nice garbage can? It kind of pisses me off when people spend more than $10 on a garbage can because I just think it's so unnecessary. Oh, I have Monster Hunter sent me when I was sponsored. And when I did this outfit with them, thank you, Monster Hunter, for the sponsorship. Official Capcom sponsored outfit. When I did the thing with them, they sent me for Wilds this like big wooden crate that had a whole bunch of merch in it, and it was really cool. It had like my name printed in there in the letter to me. When you open the lid, it's like on the inside of the lid. That's in the corner. So I have one object that isn't gray, black, or white, and it's brown because it's wood, which is pretty cool. Oh, and okay, in front of my closet door, there is an item with color in here. It's a dark bluish, dark teal color. It's the Splatoon rug that I got when we were doing a convention walk around with Zen. It's a squidling. Because I love Splatoon. And I want Splatoon 4, man. I want Splatoon 4 so badly. I love to open Splatoon and kill a bunch of people. It's a really sweaty game, and it's not filled with kids, for the record. It's actually, like... it's actually kind of crazy. So I like playing Splatoon a lot. So I love Splatoon rug. Lucky, you're going to stop pacing in front of me. You're going to pick to sit on my lap, or you're going to sit on a thing next to me. Okay, he's choosing the lap. Get comfy. I wish he would be in the mood to purr so I could put the mic on him, but he's in a stinky mood. He's trying to, like, lick the plate that my snack was on. Even though there's, like, no residue. There's, like, nothing there. He's, like, he's got to do it. He's got to do it. Crude. Thank you so much for the gifted sub. I almost said for the resub. Thank you for the gifted sub. If you do get a 5090, make sure you're using a new power cable for it. It's probably soon as that. You don't have to tell me. Trust me, I've Googled everything, and I've heard the horror stories. I know how bad it is. Yeah. I think I'm probably gonna end up going with 40 series or a 5080, but I don't know if that still feels like overkill to me. I don't know. And I should be getting the power issue in this room resolved so that I can have two PCs in here and not, like, worry about the amount of draw. That will at some point get resolved, so, you know. It's a space heater. That's the other thing. Okay, I'm a big baby. I don't like when it gets warm. I don't want it to ever be over 70 degrees. Thank you for gifting a Subzar. Loeb, thank you for the 20 months. I don't like it when it's warm. Even just streaming, I just get overheated, and I have it cooled in here, like, to a crazy degree. I don't know. I don't want the space heater effect. Never share a room with Michi. Oh, yeah, well, she's used to, like, tropical climates, unironically, and I can't... No. No, I can't do that. Dasher, thank you for the sub. I can't do that, man. She sleeps at 80. I sweat at 75, man. I would die. I would die. I've always run really warm. I produce a lot of body heat. And I go out and I have a jacket on and I end up taking the jacket off all the time and just giving it to a friend. And all of a friend was like, I'm so cold. Ooh, I'm so dainty. You know, and I'll be like, hey, here's my jacket, baby girl. But usually they're like bigger than me because I'm small. But I'll be like, here's my jacket, baby girl. And I give my jacket away because I always just fucking, I get so overheated. I get so overheated. It's like 90 degrees today in New York. I know. It was hot as fuck. And it was like really nice yesterday and the day before. It was pretty cool. It was like 60s, 70s at maximum in the middle of the day if the sun was out. But it was overcast, so it was very nice. And then today it was just fucked. It was fucked. I hate the summer. I like all the fruit. I like the produce, but I hate the summer. I can't. I don't know. I'm glad because when I shared a hotel a while back with Matara, we did our girls trip together. I was like, are you okay with me making it like really cold in here? And she was like, please. And I was like, yes. And I cranked that shit down. Oh, it was so nice. It was so nice. I was like, hey, I'll room with you anytime. She's a loud sleeper though. Oh my God. She's so much to say. She has so much to say. She moves around so much. I sleep like a corpse. I make no noise. I just whatever position I fall asleep in, I wake up like that. I barely move. And I just go, I'm just out, you know? And then she's the opposite. She's like, and she's like grunting. She's like fighting, punching the air. She does so much. She does too much. She's talking in her sleep. Yeah, fully. She had so much to say. She sleep talks a lot. It was funny. And she was saying, like, I couldn't tell what she was saying for most of it, but she was saying random words that, like, it sounded like she was trying to talk to me. Like, it wasn't sleep talking and talking to a random person in her dream. She was like aware of where she was. It was funny. Saying which thing of the 23. I don't know. She was. I love Mata, man. I love Matara. Matawa Khan. Yeah, she was a sleep yapper. Which language though? I don't know. I mean, a lot of it was muttering, so like it could have been either. I wouldn't have been able to tell. Like it would have been. I wouldn't even know. At that point, because you know how sleep talking is. It's mostly unintelligible. That was her the whole time. But yeah, she was like, she was punching the air. She's like throwing the blanket off and then putting it back on herself. She'd like throw it off and then she'd be like, oh, and like be angry that the blanket wasn't on her and then like, you know, angrily put it back on. It was funny. It was really funny. But and then for me, like, I would pass out and wake up in the exact same position. I have to be careful when I fall asleep because if I like my neck is curved a little bit or something, I will not move, so I won't get more comfortable and I'll wake up and be like, that shit will hurt. So I have to like I have to be like nicely positioned, you know. Pressure didn't throw you off the bed. We had two beds. I didn't have to deal with it. I could just hear it like you know, several feet to my left. It's funny. You do the same thing, grind your teeth. Oh, the teeth grinding is so bad. You can get so many jaw issues. You an East Coaster? What do you think? Wild Sleep Talk was about answering questions about how water treatment plants work. I have sleep talked, but it's just like my siblings telling me that they've heard me. And like, they've never told me anything. They're just like, oh yeah, you were talking. And I'll be like, about what? They're like, I don't know. So I've never had any cool, funny stories to share about what I said in my sleep or anything because they just go, I don't know. But that's what it's like when you have brothers. What did I say? Some. It makes me think I was probably just grumbling, but I don't know. I don't know, man. Hackerling's asking me if Date Everything is a good stream game. I'm gonna tell her, date the guy in the vent. There we go. Speaking of which, I want to play more of it. I wanted to chat for a long time. And I did that. And now, I'm opening it right now. I wanted to play this game. BGM off. Boom. Okay, and then we're gonna go here, and then we're gonna go